Hey folks, Eric Levine from Two Cops, One Donut. Want something better than Ring, Arlo, Brink, or any of the other quick launch home security systems? I've been having trouble with my Ring products. They don't read license plates on moving vehicles, the link doesn't connect fast enough to my phone, and I'm tired of getting notifications only to see like a glimpse of something that set it off. I was reached by a veteran-owned business called Agent Security. The owner, the staff, all veterans or former cops, they're kind of like the Chick-fil-A of customer service when it comes to security. They have a system that does everything companies like Ring do and more. They have pivoting cameras that track day or night. They can also read license plates and catch high-definition details that will lead police more effectively to catching the offender. Their mission is providing the best home security systems to their customers. All you have to do is start the conversation to protect our most valuable assets, our families. They listen to your needs and come up with perfect customized security solutions to protect what matters to you most. You can contact them by phone at 713-962-3558 or email info@agentsecurity.com or visit their website, agentsecurity.com. That's AGENTSECURITY.com. They serve the greater Houston area, North Texas, and more. Be sure to tell them that Eric Levine from Two Cops, One Donut sent you. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Impact Tactical. Impact is a tactical outfitter for the men and women of our military, police, fire departments, and other public safety around the country. Impact's core beliefs is that fearless men and women protect our freedom and safety should have access to the best tactical performance apparel, equipment, and tools on the market. And they shouldn't have to go broke to get it. I've used Impact for about 11 years, and I can attest that they do live up to their core values. So you get a personal recommendation from me. You can find them at impacttactical.com. That's MPAK tactical.com. And be sure to tell them that Two Cops, One Donut sent you. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by HRH Combat Arms. They can turn your vision into reality. They specialize in gunsmithing and Cerakoting. Your Cerakote specialist is Air Force veteran and retired police sergeant Paul Ware, a.k.a. the Sarge. He can Cerakote your firearms, auto parts, tools, even your sports equipment. This veteran-owned business is located at 5025 Saunders Suite 103, Fort Worth, Texas 76119. You can call them at 682-304-0363, and you can find them online at www.hrhcombatarms.com. That's www.hrhcombatarms.com. All right, welcome back. Eric Levine, Two Cops, One Donut, and I am back with the one, the only, Fred Gilbert.
Fred.
What's up, Fred?
You ever tell anybody why they call me Fred?
I have never explained why people call you Fred.
It's an inside family joke.
Yeah.
I don't even know where it came from.
I don't either.
Oh.
Well, it wasn't Jimmy and...
Yeah, it was. It's because Robert made fun of this guy we worked with in this complex.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of was from the north, and he would speak kind of funny, and he called me Fred.
Yeah. Well, he spoke funny, or he had a lisp that you were making fun of?
It wasn't. it wasn't a lisp. It was just maybe a combination of a lisp and something other that was fucked up. I don't know.
Okay. Well, it's been a while. We haven't had you on. You're one of the most popular people I have on the show, believe it or not. Well, I'm sure you knew
I
that.
think it's mostly because we look alike and related.
But man, how's work been? How's retirement? Everybody asks me, "What's your dad up to? What's your dad up to?" I'm like, God damn it! Eric's fine. Eric's doing okay. No, I'm just
well, you know how it is.
Yeah.
It's an opening.
Yeah,
it's an opening. People that you don't hang out with all the time,
mm-hmm.
and I'll get the same. You know, if I go up to where I used to work, and I run across younger troops. Yeah, that know you from training. They'll do the same thing. Yeah. Hey, your boy this, your boy that.
I gotcha.
So I think that's just.
It's just a way to open up conversation with us.
Yeah, and then the older guys know me more, and then the younger guys know you more. So that's the bridge.
Yeah. How's the retirement going though? Because I don't see you.
It's busy. For most people know, well, maybe they don't, that my side gig is a part-time job as a private investigator for a law firm.
A PI.
Yeah, and we do represent shitbags sometimes.
Yeah.
And we also represent some officers that have been screwed over.
Nice.
So,
well,
it's not like we're always
shitbag or not. I think everybody deserves a defense.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And at least around here, most people don't know that if you can't afford, everybody knows if you can't afford a lawyer,
one will be appointed to you.
Right. Yeah. Well, they also appoint
badasses
investigators to help you.
Oh.
Yeah. So
I didn't know that.
Just think of it as you have a detective that works a case at a police department.
Yeah.
Well, what better person to get than someone who's done that job to, cross the T's and check the T's and I's and look for any possibility that, hey, they didn't do this.
Yeah.
And maybe there's a loophole, or maybe you just didn't do it and there was a mistake.
Yeah.
And very rarely, I would say 99.something%, the cases are always good or good enough.
Yeah.
I mean, you could always do a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But I could, after 2.5, 3 years, I can tell you on top of my head, only once have I found someone, maybe twice, that clearly didn't do it. And all it was this one guy, he was accused of stealing his credit card, this old man's credit card, and the old man picked him out of a lineup only because one of those, smart, attentive officers says, I know that guy. He caught his picture on a Walmart security video and said, that's Billy Bob. That's Billy Bob.
Yeah.
So they take a photo lineup, put Billy Bob in it, and the victim points him out. Well, the detective didn't get a hold of Billy Bob. He may have tried, but no one answered. And you know how it is.
Yeah.
He's read a warrant.
Yeah. He didn't
deal with it.
I tried to contact him. Couldn't get in contact with him, and I've only got one side of the story.
So
this is him.
All I had to do was say, where were you? Well, I was in the hospital. Could have been me. Well, let's check the hospital records. Sure enough, he was still in the hospital
when the offense occurred.
Easy
enough.
Yeah. And not to knock the detective, but that you can only wait so long.
Right. You have so many cases stacking up, and you can't leave, which is what's considered a petty offense. It's not a major deal.
Right.
You can only
Plus, this guy was a frequent flyer. He's kind of bipolar-ish and on meds, and when he's off his meds, police are called on him a lot. So it wasn't a far-fetched. He wouldn't have done that.
Gotcha. Okay.
But other than, it's going good.
Yeah. You got your fishing, you got your jiu-jitsu, you got your judo.
Fishing, jiu-jitsu, judo. Judo not so much anymore because I'm focusing more on the jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've mastered the judo.
Of course. Nationally ranked judo master.
But in my woodwork, in my hockey, I took hockey off for fishing.
Okay.
Yeah. So
smart. That's
I'm having fun and
fair trade.
I get to take naps during the day. Matter of fact, I took a nap before I got here.
Nice. I tried to take a nap. I felt like I didn't get enough sleep last night. But you came up with the idea for the show. So
yes, I did.
I want you to explain what your premise was and why we're doing this episode, and then I'm going to leave it to you, sir.
Okay, great. So what can we call this show today? Not Two Cops and a Donut today. We got the VIP interviewer.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, so old school, new school. Well, I'm going to call you middle-aged school now.
Yeah.
You've been there long enough.
Thanks.
But I thought it would be nice, informative for your audience. What do you have, 3 or 4?
Yeah,
full-time
3 or 4,
viewers?
Yeah.
Okay.
For the most part.
For the 3 or 4 people.
Yeah. One's my mom.
Yeah, that watch you other than your mom, to know more about you.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm like, okay, here's Eric. Has his podcast and he's eating up with it and he loves it and he's having fun and it's starting to explode. So I thought, well, you know what? We keep hearing about other people. Let's hear about that motherfucker. People wants to know.
Yeah.
And who knows you better than me or your wife or your mom?
Yeah.
So, and I talked to him before I got to you. So,
oh yeah,
yeah. Nah, you know how I am. I just roll with shit.
That's how I am.
So what I would like to do is interview you, so your audience, your viewers, your subscribers, and whatever else they're called.
All right.
To learn more about you.
Okay.
So, first off, where are you from?
Originally from Flint, Michigan. Born at St. Joe's. I don't think it's even there anymore. Went to school there in Mount Morris, a little adjacent to Fort Worth, or not Fort Worth, Flint. Sorry, being with the F. Let's see. Grew up playing baseball. Yeah. Big baseball guy. Played some Canusa games all the way up to All-Stars. Played.
And the Canusa game, for people that aren't from up there, is kind of like a mini Olympics between Canada and the United States.
Yeah.
For that little local area.
Yeah. So
Canada versus United States, Canusa.
Yep. So I did that. Let's see, what else? Tried to do some college. That didn't quite work out for me. I was having a hard time staying focused on school and then working. So I eventually started working for your brother, my uncle Jim, painting for him, making good money. Oh, yes.
Uncle Jim.
Uncle Jim. What was it? Feek. That's right. But started painting for him. Did really well. He kind of took me under his wing and, fostered my painting skills to the point where I'm working with his crews. He's got a lot of employees at the time. I think he had like 3 work vans, maybe 4. And he's putting guys out all these different places. And I'm looking at the average age health of all the people I'm working with. Obviously, I'm one of the young guys.
And you were 19 or so?
Yeah, 20? 18, 19, somewhere in there. Working with one of his sons, Chad. So him and I were like the young guys on the crew, and then making great money. Some weeks you're pulling $2,000 in a week, which was crazy. And
right. Especially back then.
Yeah, and I start seeing the writing on the wall with the guys that work there and that have been working that same type of gig their whole lives, and they still don't have nothing to show for it.
Right.
And their health is shit. And I was like, this is a trap, because you see a $2,000 week job and winter time comes and that money has to last through the winter time when business gets slow. So I decided to focus full time back into school, and the best way I knew to do that, because I couldn't afford it anymore, was go into the service.
Okay, so you joined the service, the Air Force, and your, I guess your motivation, other than serving your country, Air Force, right? So yeah. Serving your country on a recliner. Right?
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And on a golf course was where most of my basic training was at.
So you do that, but am I sensing that mostly the educational aspect of opportunities?
School was the biggest. Like, I knew the military was going to use me as much as I used them. So I was trying to figure out a way to make the most of that. And I didn't want to be the kid that owed a bunch of money for school going into your new job that isn't even guaranteed. Because I wanted to be a cop. I just wasn't sure what type of cop. FBI, any of the 3-letter agencies. I didn't care. I wanted to do something. I just didn't know what I wanted to do.
So you wanted to be in some kind of law enforcement?
Yeah. I knew I wanted to be in some sort of law enforcement.
So why? What drew you towards that?
So originally, I've said this before somewhat, but it's a combo of things. I grew up, you were a legend on our family side. That was part of it. And then I had my cousin Monica, who was a state trooper.
Oh, yeah. I remember you talking about her.
Monica. And then my grandpa was a firefighter.
Right.
And I had a couple people that were military, cousins that were military. Greggy Bradford was one of them. And my Uncle Al, my Aunt Lisa's husband. So
there's a lot of influence in the family for, like, first responders and serving.
Mm-hmm. And then when you'd have a family reunion, that's who everybody gravitates to. Like, when you came up and all the uncles and aunts came up, no one gave a shit about what, this uncle, you were the center of, and everybody wanted to know, like, what calls did you do? What did you do? Like, it's always about the job and all the cool stuff that you had to do.
It's an interest.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, you look at entertainment today, true crime is still leading the way for most things. So,
okay, so you go in the Air Force, start getting some schooling going.
mm-hmm. So I jump in, I become a cop in the Air Force. It's called Security Forces.
Right.
And as I'm going through that.
Well, let me stop you there. The Security Forces job that you did in the Air Force, mm-hmm. was that satisfying or unsatisfying, or what was your opinion of that position?
It was, at the beginning, it was satisfying because I'm getting all the training.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, this is the shit. I'm learning how to arrest people. I'm learning how to defend a base. I'm learning kind of a combo of everything more than I expected.
Gotcha.
So I knew I was going to learn the police side, but I didn't know out of that, like how far that was going to go down the rabbit hole.
Right.
I didn't know I was going to learn how to protect a base. I didn't realize it was going to be basically the infantry of the Air Force.
Right.
Which is really what Security Forces is. So I learn all that stuff and I get to my base and then I really start to see what my job is. And my job is not
what you thought.
Not what I thought it was going to be. It wasn't fulfilling.
So you didn't have the electric lazy boy, you had the manual lazy boy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, with the pool table and all that good stuff. But I was guarding nukes. That's really what I was doing. I was out in the prairies guarding nukes.
Uh-huh.
Working out all the time. That was great, but it was boring. Like you never saw any bad guys.
Well, I'm going to ask you a question about that position. Security post, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just sit and wait and watch for nothing because where you were, nothing happens. Right. That can be very boring.
Mm-hmm.
And so, not to degrade or minimize that position, but how does one handle all that boredom if they have like a type of mentality or personality where they've got to be thinking and doing stuff with their hands or mind? I mean, there's not a whole lot of using the intellect when you're just watching a base.
Right. So that's where we get in trouble a lot as military members because of the boredom, because we will put buckets on our heads and ride on each other's backs and then run at each other full speed with pool cues.
Oh, jousting.
This is one of the stupid things we did in our boredom. We would freeze each other's berets. We would...
what would that do?
Okay, so if a flight chief come out to do a post check, so basically, now when I say we're hundreds of miles away from people.
Right.
So we're way out there.
So they're going to do a random spot check.
Yes. So they're coming out to see how you're doing.
And you don't know they're coming.
Right. But you can't just get into our facility. Right. There's all these. So there's a heads up, like
some kind of protocol that, hey,
yeah,
make sure this gate. And then you're like, oh, shit,
yeah,
they're doing a random.
Yeah. And so the sergeant will be like, hey, dude, flight chief's on the service road. Let's go. Like, you guys got to wake up or you got to get your clothes on or whatever stupid stuff you were doing.
Right.
Because, we'd be in our pajamas or we wouldn't be in full uniform, whatever.
Well, how does that work then? What's your shift? How long is your shift?
You usually pulled 2 12s.
Okay.
So it'd be, you just have a 12-hour shift and the other team had a 12-hour shift.
Okay. But you were in your PJs
sometimes
during your 12
shorts. I don't mean PJs. Most of the workout equipment, your gear, I should say.
Chill gear, right?
Yeah. So you'd be in that, and then the flight chief's coming up the service road, and he's got to do authentications to get on it. Like, there's a bunch of protocols. So there's plenty of time.
Okay, so that's how you got in trouble, because you just your mind's working too fast for the environment.
Yes.
So you got to create your own stimuli.
Yes. So you'd be doing
joust.
Yep. Or you would do Op 4 stuff where
you ever sword fight?
So
if you don't know what sword fighting is, which I'm sure most of your viewers or listeners do, just Google or YouTube Skin Deep.
Oh my God! Don't tell people to look that stuff up. Jesus.
And Skin Deep's a comedy. It's not like a porno
I know.
show.
Yeah, you're gonna get people. Don't do it at work.
Yes, you can.
You think so?
It's in the dark. You can't see anything.
Yes, I know. Anyway.
Well, you see some things, but it's...
Yeah.
You still can't see it.
Yeah.
All right. So you do that. You go to school. You graduate.
Finished my bachelor's while I was still in.
And how'd you get out of the service?
So I just did my 4 years honorable, what do they call that? Discharge. So I did that, and then got hired to the first PD that would take me.
Not to backtrack, but this is hilarious. The story you told me about basics.
Which
over there in the Air Force. Now you're in formation. Right?
Oh, the pigeon stuff.
Yeah. So paint the picture. You're in formation.
Okay. So basic training. We're getting ready to eat lunch, and the way that you do that, you get in formation, and you're under a awning. So like they're big, massive buildings,
like a pavilion cover.
Yes, but it's Texas. It's hot. So you're under the pavilion and you're at parade rest, which means you're standing there with your hands behind your back. Kind of, that's like your chill position, right? But it still looks...
You're alert, but you're not at attention.
Yes. So standing there, you're still not supposed to move or look around with your head. You can look around with your eyes and stuff, but you're not supposed to move. Well, I am looking at the rafters because that's the only entertainment from where I was at. There's pigeons up there.
Did you have to move your head straight up, or
No. I'm just
looking up.
No, I'm just looking up. Yeah. So I'm standing. My head's still.
So
standing
you're
level.
still in regulations, policy.
Yes. So then I see this massive, big old male pigeon, and he is between two female pigeons. At least I think they're females, because he's going back and forth, just railing them, just banging the shit out of them.
Really?
And I start I'm looking and. I can't help it. I'm laughing. Like my shoulders are bouncing. I'm trying not to laugh out loud, but I am clearly laughing. So I kicked.
And this is a solo act. You're not like sharing it with anybody.
I did share it with the one dude in front of me, who was my buddy. I kicked his heel real quick,
and he looked at you.
And I whispered. I said, "Look up." And so he's looking up now, without moving his head. And then I see his shoulders bounce a little bit, but he was a lot more disciplined than me. And I'm trying, there's tears almost coming down my face. And all of a sudden I feel a hat on my neck, which that Smokey the Bear hat, the drill instructor's hat.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that on TV.
Yeah. Most of them wear these taps on their boots. So you can hear them everywhere. Click, click, click. Yeah. And they're made for marching, really. Gotcha. Keeps you in step. So when they're coming. Well, this guy went fucking stealth mode on me.
Oh, you didn't hear him?
I didn't hear him because he just shows up.
How do you go stealth mode with those taps?
He took them off.
Oh, okay.
He didn't have them on his boots. He was purposely going around just trying to catch people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he sees me. I feel his hat. And I just, under my breath, I go, "Oh, fuck." And he goes, "Oh, fuck's right, Levine." He's like, "You better right face right now and tell me what's so goddamn funny. And before you open your mouth, it better make me laugh." He's like, "So you got some choices to make." And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I'm like, I don't get in trouble. Like, I go under the radar pretty well. So, he goes, "Before you open your mouth, it better make me laugh. Just remember that." And I'm like, fuck. He's like, "So you want to start pushing now, or you want to make me laugh?" And I was like, "Fuck it, I'll make him laugh."
Okay.
Worth a shot. And I was a lot older than most. I was 23, I think, at the time. Most of the people in my thing were 18. They had come straight out of high school.
Right.
So I could only imagine what was going through their head was like, fuck, just do the push-ups. Don't. They didn't want to get in trouble, too.
Oh, would everybody have to do push-ups?
Possibly.
Okay.
Possibly. He could have made all of them push.
Right.
And made me watch. Like, that could have been.
Oh, yeah, that's even worse.
Yeah, that would have been bad. So it was a calculated risk. So I tell him, I was like, "Permission to move freely." And he's like, "By all means." He's like very dramatic with it. He starts walking back and forth, looking around. He's like, "Oh my God, go, Levine, by all means. The stage is yours."
I wish this wouldn't videotape.
Oh, it was fucking hilarious. And that was so funny. He's like, "By all means, Levine, the stage is yours." So I was already sorry. I was like, "See the pigeons up there?" He's like, "Fucking pigeons, really? Pigeons." And I'm like, "Yes, sir." He's like, "All right, you got my attention. What about the pigeons, Levine? Tell me about the pigeons. What about the pigeons?" And he's knife handed.
Everybody's kind of listening.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. They're looking straight ahead like they're supposed to, but in their heads, they're just like, "Fuck, we're so fucked." I know that's what they're thinking. And I was like, "All right, the sort of he had like a light gray whitish color to him,
Right.
very different colored. So I was like, see the big one with the whitish one? He's like, yep, I'm looking right at him. He's like, I'm locked on. What about him? I was like, give me 20 seconds to see if he starts doing what he was doing. He's like, oh, he's a performing actor, is he? I was like, yeah, one of those. I was like, yeah, and right on cue.
Oh shit!
Right on cue, he jumps on one of them females and just starts like loud. I mean, louder than he had done it earlier.
Yeah.
And I mean, just slamming this pigeon. And he immediately, he doesn't turn fully away from me, but he turns enough so like the brim of his hat, the back part, like he's looking up into the side, so it's blocking his neck a little bit.
Right.
But I see his shoulders bounce
Doing what you were doing.
Slightly. And he goes, fall back in, Levine, and he just walks away.
That's it?
And that was it. That's all I heard about it. And the day that we had graduated, he had pulled me to the side.
And how long was that from the day?
Fuck. That was probably, I think our thing was 6.5 weeks, the boot camp was, and that was probably week 2. So we're talking another 4 weeks, maybe, at the longest. So he had pulled me to the side, you know, Mom, Sarah, all you guys were up there, and he's like, I just got to say, Levine, you're the first one that's made me break. He's like, don't let that shit go to your head. I was like, I was having trouble remembering what he meant at the time because your head's just, you're so wrapped up in things. I was like, sir? And he's like, the pigeons? And I was like, oh, yeah. And I started laughing. He's like, I told everybody about that. It's pretty funny.
I had that motherfucker. I had him. And then he just got out of it.
Yeah, that was so funny.
So, okay, so you're done with the Air Force. You get out. And what was your next step? You moved?
I was applying. I applied all over the nation for police jobs. And just happened to get hired in Saginaw, Michigan.
Right.
First.
It's not far from where you grew up.
Right. So went there. Again, it wasn't what I wanted for police work. The money wasn't good. Kind of pigeonholed in the size.
Was it a active department, or was it, you know, like,
yeah, you had enforcement.
busy.
Yeah, and you it was kind of like being a damn campus cop, really.
Okay.
Because you had all these different facilities. You know, I was making an arrest maybe 2 or 3 times a month at the time,
right?
Which was nothing to brag about.
So it just wasn't as busy as a type of
and then there's
agency you wanted to work for.
No upward mobility. There was no options.
Was it more of a who you know type department, or?
No, I wouldn't say that. There's a lot of movement and stuff as far as going other places. So that was always a possibility. I wanted more options. I wanted maybe K9 one day. I mean, I didn't know what I wanted, but I knew I wanted different options, and I just didn't see it there.
So you stayed there how long?
There 3 years.
Okay. So how would you rate 1 to 10, 10 being a great experience? How would you rate that that department? Your time there, not like
I gotcha. I would give it a 7.
Okay.
Yeah, great training. Down the line,
it just couldn't give you everything you were looking for,
right?
Okay.
As far as
no knock against them,
no,
just that it wasn't. Am I hearing it just wasn't large enough to?
No, yeah, okay. They just didn't have it. They just didn't have it. That was all.
What size department was it?
40.
That's it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Total.
Yeah. Tiny.
Wow.
Yeah. Tiny. So
you stay there how long? 2
or 3 years.
Then where'd you go?
Then came down to Texas. Okay. Got on where you were at. Okay. And decided while I was here to go for my master's. So I got down here, went through the academy, got a house.
So you laid stakes, or you put roots down here.
Yeah.
I guess you're planning on staying a while.
Yeah, I'm done now. I'm not going anywhere.
Okay, so you get on the department down here in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
You get your master's.
Yep, unexpectedly. I wasn't ever planning on getting it.
So let me ask you about the education. How important do you think education is for your typical police officer position at patrol?
Oh, doing police work? I don't think it's necessary at all.
Okay, and why?
It just doesn't. What you learn in college does not apply to what you do on the streets. It gives you perspective. I think it can help, but if you were to tell me that cops have to have a 4-year degree, I would say why?
Okay.
Because I got my 4-year degree and then continued.
And on all levels of
I think my
policing?
master's helped me. Oh, you mean like as
you have your basic patrol officer.
Mm-hmm.
And, most departments move on up to detective investigator. Yeah. Then there's a supervisor position, and then there's an admin position.
Yeah,
the brass. So, do you think it helps in any of those levels?
I think it might have way back in the day, like maybe 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s even. But when we started getting into the computer age, all of those skill sets that really made you stand apart, 5-year-olds know how to do it now.
Yeah, I can attest to that because when I was on a department back in the late 80s, and computers are just now, getting a good run. Floppy disks were still floppy.
Like giant, yeah.
Like,
big,
6x6 floppy shit.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget one day I had to call IT about some stupid thing that I didn't know about the computer, and he walked me through it. But, I felt stupid because I didn't have enough training in computers. And he goes, "No, you're a genius compared to some of these old timers." And I go, "What do you mean?" He said, "I was trying to help an old timer." And I asked him, I said, "Okay, what's your problem?" He goes, "Well, all right, well, what's on your desktop right now?" And he goes,
"Coffee cup."
He did, exactly. He said, "Coffee cup, pencil, desk calendar." And the guy just laughed. And he goes,
"That's awesome."
"No, what's on your screen?"
That's great.
So, yeah, I get what you're saying. Nowadays, hell, I even did it before I retired back in 2017. I would yank a rookie and say, "Hey, there's got to be a better way of doing this on a computer." And they're looking at me like I'm stupid. Like, it's just this easy.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know that.
Yeah.
I could get by and do what I needed to do. It took me a little longer because I was always hunt and peck.
Yeah.
But luckily, I was in a position that wasn't so busy that I got bogged down with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I didn't learn to type in college. I already knew how. I didn't learn to write in college. Now, don't get me wrong. They did continue to teach you to write. I would say that's probably one of the better skills I got.
Yeah.
Was writing.
Yes, I would say your chances of doing a better report would go up.
Yeah.
Because you just have more, I don't want to say more education, but you have more experience at writing. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you to your face, when I went to college, I continuously went to the English lab to have them look over my shit, and it was almost embarrassing how they would have to explain to me, "No, you write it this way."
Yeah.
And anyhow, so I guess what I'm getting from you is that the degrees in education isn't as important now.
No.
Okay.
No, like I said, the best thing I got from it was perspective, because I got to, when I went for my master's, my bachelor's was a monumental waste of time to me. Other than the writing, I really don't think anything helped me that I wouldn't have learned in the police academy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, because if you learn, let's say you take a semester of constitutional law or whatever it is you take, okay, unless you can retain shit really well,
right,
that's not going to do you any good,
right?
Because you stop practicing it. Now you're going through the academy again, and then you have to learn whatever state and local laws that you're there for anyway, and none of that has anything to do with what you're doing for a long time, because it's you go through it, and then until you actually start applying it, all that shit goes out the window.
So you go from a smaller department to a bigger department,
Mm-hmm.
and I would say roughly 30 times bigger.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or more.
Yeah. So a lot of options. Amazing academy. Learned a lot, even though I'd been doing police work, at that time, 6 years. And then started.
What type of work do you do? You did patrol.
Mm-hmm.
You did the academy training.
So I was
teaching.
Yeah, I did patrol. I was a academy instructor, mainly for control tactics.
Right.
That's what we do.
Right.
So, family secrets is we're ninjas, and so I was requested, so that made me feel good. I was asked to put in.
You weren't trying to shirk anything.
Yeah. So
you did the academy, teaching, instructing.
I was on bicycle police.
Yeah.
In a major city area. Did that for 2 years. Then after the police academy.
So I'm sure people have tried to piece together where you work. And I know you're trying to keep it under wraps for cautious liability.
Correct.
Can you give us a city that's similar in size?
Baltimore. Or do you mean a local one?
It doesn't matter. Well, I would go nationally because, whoever's...
Yeah. Yeah, Baltimore is similar.
About the
same size population and geographical size.
Gotcha. Okay. So that gives you us an idea that when you said a major urban city, you're on bikes, they're like, okay, what the fuck's that mean? What kind of place?
Yeah.
So it's a busy downtown area.
Yeah, busy downtown area. Matter of fact, the first time I'd ever been shot at was in that job.
Okay. So. Well, we might get to that one.
Yeah.
So you're into it. You did you're in a bigger department. You did your little patrol stint, and I guess people didn't recognize your talents and wanted you to go down to the academy.
Yeah. It was mainly because of the schooling. So I had my master's by then.
Right. So you look good on paper.
Yeah, I looked great on paper, but it was the ninja skills, I think.
How did you get past the...
Teaching the old timers?
No.
Oh.
Well, let's tell everybody this. Your last name is different than my last name. So
yeah, because my parents were sinners. I was
you were
pretty
able
sure
to
I was conceived in a Burger King walk-in cooler.
With another one. So you were able to fly under the radar without my last name.
Yes.
Because my last name was... I don't want to say mud, but I was...
You were a black sheep in the department.
Yeah, well, I don't want to say black sheep. I was maybe, I don't know, sheep maybe. No, okay, there's the black sheep, but then I think I was just a little bit underneath the black sheep. I was gray sheep.
Okay, you were almost there.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I still had allies high up. I just didn't have enough.
Yeah. So, yes.
So then you move to, you promote.
I promoted, yeah.
To the detective / corporal.
No.
/ investigator.
Well, yeah. Initially, I was straight detective CIU on East Side.
Right.
And then did that for a little while. Was trained under a really good detective.
Do I know that detective?
I think you do, Jake Brennan.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a badass.
He worked for me as a patrol officer, and I want to say MPO.
Okay. Yeah.
A patrol officer. And you know how I am. I'll ride in with some of them. I saw him firsthand.
Yeah.
Yeah. He has a real good working rapport with the community, and he seemed to know, and I'm sure it's from his dad.
Yeah.
He seemed to know all the season, I don't want to call them tricks, but the season tactics.
Yep.
To find out what's going on.
Yeah.
He didn't fall for the bullshit.
Yep. Yeah. Jake was awesome. He was a really good instructor. Fun to learn from. He was patient with me because he knew I was coming from the academy.
Right.
And I'd been out of the game for a while, so I was rusty.
Right. Okay, so
then I do the corporal thing.
Okay. And so now this is where you're at. You're at corporal, and now you're in a different unit. Did you tell anybody what unit you're in now?
No, I got pulled back.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
So you went
I temporarily went to real time. Did that for 3 or 4 months.
Oh, that was a temporary thing.
Yeah. The idea was to try to kind of make it permanent if I could prove myself and prove that it was a position that was necessary. Apparently I didn't prove that enough. So
really? So
yes, I just got pulled back. This was
after all that stuff you told me,
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds like, not that I'm making excuses. I mean, you could have sucked, period.
I could have, yeah.
But if everything told me what was true, sounds like they sucked your brain and kicked you out the door.
It's
picked your brain, basically.
I can't what if they continued to do what I was doing, I would be happy. Even if they didn't take me. Because I think the position's needed. I think I proved that it's needed. And I even got them saying, like, yeah, we really need this spot.
But do I need to call the chief and get on his ass? Because I still have his number on my phone.
You can. You can. I told them myself, though. So.
All right. No, I would never do that.
Yeah. So,
matter of fact, I can tell you, last thing I said to him was something like this, and this is all me.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Had to get the readers on.
Yeah.
I'm sure my time's coming soon. 40's right around the corner.
So, I guess it's so old it erased. I said something like, "Hey, next time you see my son, the brown-nosed ass kisser, smack the shit out of him for me, would you?"
That's funny.
I would never ask for anything.
Oh yeah, for me, yeah. I know. That was one of the reasons I stayed away from where you were at for so long. I wanted to make my own name.
Yeah. So okay, now we got the tree. We got where you grew up, where you went. Now let's dig into what the podcast is all about. You want to bridge a community between the police and the community.
Yeah.
And
so I could have went a lot of different ways with police work. SWAT, was something that always intrigued me. Canines always intrigued me. I even had a little stint where I really liked doing DWI unit stuff. I know. And I just think...
And I say because, at least here, it's not a short process.
No, it's long and tedious. But I've learned this about myself, is that I just like challenges. I like the learning process. So if you catch me like with the DWI thing, it was a challenge. Everybody hated doing them, so I wanted to know how to do it, so I didn't have that fear of it or that thing. So I was like, I'm going to conquer this. And then while I'm doing it, I like the process of learning it.
Did I tell you how many I've done in 30 years? Well, of course it doesn't count when you're out of patrol.
Right.
But I was in patrol as, an officer for, say, maybe 5 years, and then bikes for a while. You don't really do DWIs and bikes, or DUIs, whatever they call them, wherever you're at. But then I became a corporal back into patrol, and they used us for training.
Like an FTO?
Yeah. So this is how fucked up I was. We'd get a DWI, and I would hope the damn rookie knew how to do it. Yeah. Because I sure didn't know how to do it, because I avoided them. So then I went from, while I was a corporal, I wasn't training one time, and we had this community, this neighborhood caught a drunk driver, and he was like running over people almost, and kids, and it was one of those things where you better make an arrest. So yeah, he was going down. So
Gilbert's on the scene.
I had no choice.
Yeah,
and obviously I should, no matter what. But it's a paperwork nightmare for people who don't know how to do them. That's why I assume that's why people avoid them. Yes. And I had to call in a rookie to show me how to do it.
Yeah,
and
they're a pain.
Yeah.
For anybody wondering, if you're not familiar with them and you've been out of practice, it's going to take you anywhere from 2 to 4 hours.
Yeah.
And then for me, when I had got spun up and was really trying to conquer them, I could get one done in 45 minutes.
Wow.
So, yeah. Thanks to guys like Mohajer, Baumgartner. Who else was out there? Trying to think of who else helped me. They know who they are.
What I liked so there was DWI units out in the area.
Yes.
And if they weren't busy, they would take the calls off you if it was an actual DWI.
Yes. Yeah. That was what was cool about that unit. And that was what was cool about them is they knew that officers don't like doing them because they're not familiar. They don't do them all the time, so they're not good at them. So if you volunteered to go work with them, they would teach you everything.
You know what I found as a common denominator for those DWI officers? A lot of them have lost somebody from a drunk driver.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so there's some
personal motivation.
Yeah. Personally affected by it. So it's definitely more of a drive for them.
Yeah. But that is what I have found out about myself is that yes, there is the part of me. I think it's one of the reasons I joined the military during a time of war. Is like I got this drive to feel like I need to be the combat guy or whatever it is. But in that process of learning how to be the type of cop I want to be, the thing I enjoyed the most was just talking to people and working things out and try to handle things at the lowest level if I could, and learning what I had discretion in versus what I didn't, and seeing how much discretion can really help in the long run when you deal with a scumbag and you use a little bit of discretion the one time, and then the next time you see him, he commits a crime that you have to arrest him on, but he's cool.
Right.
And he remembers you. Oh, it's Levine. All right, man, you treated me good last time. I'm cool. I'm like, oh shit.
Right.
It's not just talking to the community.
And not to be over dramatic, but when you build a rapport like that on a beat, you could make that one connection with that one person, and that one person could determine an outcome for you that you never even knew about. For example, you deal with that guy again, but he's with some other hardcore people.
Yeah.
And they're fixing to jump your ass, but then
he talks him out of it.
Or looks at him and goes, no, let's move on.
Yeah.
And you never
knew. Yeah. Who knows how many times that's happened for me.
So, okay. We dug a long time about your career moves, but I think it would be interesting to know more about your non-police side.
Okay.
So what are your hobbies?
Too many. So I grew up hunting and fishing. Love hunting and fishing. I don't get to do it nearly as much as I'd like to. I love working out. I like to run. Jogging's one of my.
Why?
I don't know, because I'm good at it. I guess.
You're not my kid.
And I like jogging. I just like cardio in general.
So we haven't had a DNA test done.
No.
So
I don't want to end up being one of like my uncle's kids either. So.
So okay, you like running, hunting and fishing.
Judo, jiu-jitsu, I should say. I didn't care for judo.
Okay.
I got headaches all the time doing that. Computers, obviously. I like doing this stuff. I like the challenge of it. I've always had a thing for computers. Used to build them back in the day. They've changed a lot, and I didn't want to risk my own money and fuck it up.
Right.
Maybe if the podcast starts making me lots of money, then I'll make my own computer. But I love bourbon. Beer making at one point was a good hobby.
Okay. Let me ask you some questions and some pinpoint questions.
Okay.
What's your attention span like?
Depends. It's weird. I
got a reason why I bring it up.
I could go hunting and sit because I'm honed in. I'm focused. I can go shoot a bow and I can shoot I can sit for hours, but I also, something else can draw my attention really quick. Like I could be hunting all week long and I'm all into it. And then next week somebody's like, hey man, have you ever tried to do this? And I'm like, what is that? And then
that's why I bring it up.
I'm very obsessive compulsive.
Well, I've noticed throughout your lifetime that you'll find something you're interested in and you'll hit it hard and heavy, put 100% into it. And I don't want to see you master it, but you get successful or you get good at it. And then next thing you know, you move on to something else.
Mm-hmm. That's how it is with police work too.
So
I need the challenge.
So and it first started when I first noticed it when you started jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
You were eating up with it.
Yeah.
I mean, eating up with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then you weren't. And you did it for a while, a long time.
And it'll always be something that triggers it. I got hurt.
Yeah.
And then
Then you moved on to, what else was that? A different type of hobby. Then I do remember you took up boxing.
Mm-hmm.
And you were eating up with that.
I love it.
And then you took up, I don't want to say bodybuilding, but
just a different time of lifting. Yeah.
Right. And you were eating up with that.
Yeah.
And then I don't want to say recently, but we went fishing over at the lake lot, and you loved that one weekend to the point where you wanted to buy a kayak.
Yeah.
And
I keep looking forward to doing it.
Yeah. So it just sits back there and the reason I bring all this up is you're on the podcast, and I thought of this the other day. You're eating up with it. You love it.
How long is that shit going to last?
No. I didn't say it like that. Yeah. I'm like, this shit's lasting.
Yeah.
And even more commitment than the other stuff.
Right.
So why?
I don't know. Just it's challenging. It's hard. It
is a lot more to it than I thought, because you bounce stuff off me and tell me what your issues are. And I'm like, Jesus, is that much involved?
Yeah. So and now it's like, I never know when my next guest is going to be. I never know if I'm going to get the right people. There's a fear that it could get shut down. If my department was like, you can't do that anymore, like I'm going to have to make a hard choice.
Gotcha.
So I guess that challenge. And then I've never had so many people support me in what I do. Right. You know what I mean? Like, this is more than just my mom telling me, oh, you're doing a good job. My dad saying, oh, this is fun. You should keep doing it. I've got coworkers that are like, dude, it's awesome. When can I be on? Which FYI, again, if we work together, you got an open invitation. Just have a topic you want to talk about. That's all I ask. Yeah. So,
and you can never have too many topics and too many guests, because there are times when you go on vacation and now you want to have something for that week's podcast, and you have something in the bank.
Yes.
All right. So I wanted to bring up your commitment to this. I've noticed that you do have your attention span changes quite a bit because of the challenge, but I guess there's still a challenge to this podcast. So that's one thing. Yeah. And then another thing is that there's so many different types of guests that keeps your interest up.
Yeah. And I think it's why I like police work.
Right.
Because it's constantly changing as far as the people you talk to, who, even if it's the same area, like the people I'm talking to and dealing with and stuff like that, it's constant change.
So I want to go back to police work, since you spurred a thought. There's all kinds of shit going down in the last few years about, police reform, this and that. Mm-hmm. What do you think would be the number one thing, if you were king, that you would change about police work?
That I would change about police work.
For example, I think there are, and I only throw this example out there to kind of give you an idea where I'm trying to go. Everybody knows you need a patrol officer to answer those calls where, law enforcement is needed. But there are a lot of calls that really don't need an officer.
Right.
And I'll bring this up, top of my head is, why does an officer have to respond to an accident on the street or the highway? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically a civil matter.
Right.
Two people hit each other. Who shows up first usually?
FD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? They render aid.
Yeah.
I say we make them fuckers work accidents.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But what do you do if they don't have insurance? Still.
They can still do it.
Yeah.
They can. They take an initial report that says we made the scene. Here's what happened. We render aid, and then their investigative part takes over.
Yeah.
And say, oh, this driver didn't have insurance. All right, well, let's take care of that.
Yeah. I mean, they could just observe, report, and send it off to a detective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A FD detective.
Or an FD detective. Yeah.
Not a police detective, because that gives less caseload for a police detective to get on the street.
I mean, they already have arson investigators.
Right.
So
yeah, Chief, take that into consideration.
that's possible.
So something like that. What do you think is a game changer for you?
Okay. Well, I think the game changer would be, because there's a lot of things that I would like to see happen, but
okay, I won't limit it to one, but top three.
Big one would be going based on technology-driven policing.
Okay.
We're to the point now where technology is so good that we can change the way we do police work, in a sense where we don't need to put officers in bad positions as often as we do.
Example?
So example would be stolen car.
Okay.
There's we call them 60s. That's the code for police work at most police places.
See a stolen car.
Stolen car. And inevitably what happens? That car gets spotted, let's say, by an officer. Right. He gets behind it. He tries to light it up. And they run. Now we got a pursuit, which is dangerous for the citizens.
Right.
So rather, I would have a force multiplier throughout the city. Have cameras set up throughout the city that are monitored 24/7, like a real-time crime center.
Okay.
When those vehicles pop up, rather than notify patrol, they've got calls to handle. I don't want patrol handling that. Right. I would rather have undercover vehicles. And when I'm saying undercover, I don't mean a Crown Vic that just doesn't have lights showing on it. I mean an actual undercover car. You have undercover units spread out throughout the city that are able to respond, find those vehicles, and follow them off until they get to a safe location that marked units can actually get that car without the risk of a pursuit.
I like that idea.
I would like, and now the problem that we have is there's always going to be the debate. No, we need more people in patrol. No, we need more people in narcotics. No, we need more people in this and that. The way that I see that type of unit being is more like a scalpel. That unit would go after violent felons, stolen vehicles, stuff like that. They're not wasting their time on minor accidents. They're not wasting their time on, there's a riot downtown, whatever it is. Their job is to be beholden to that real-time crime center who's always watching everything. They're watching, and when I say everything, I don't mean they're watching your backyards, because I think Big Brother is a big problem with that, and we always need to keep the cops in check to make sure we don't overstep. So those cameras will be pointed in public places that anybody could film at.
And I think most people would know that there's a camera there. It's not like you're trying to be covert.
Yeah, it's not sneaky in any way. Like, you could see the camera. So you got them sitting there. They could be watching convenience stores where there's a lot of hand-to-hand drug deals and stuff like that. So if they see a gun popping out the backside of somebody's pants and they're dealing dope and all that stuff, now you get those undercover units in the area. They can keep eyes on, and then you move the troops in and you pluck out that problem rather than trying to keep a bunch of cops in the area. Everybody's going to know, and the chances of that guy getting away are going to be a lot higher because that's the plague of that area.
The way you describe that, it's hard to refute. It's hard to not agree with. It's hard to call it bullshit, in my opinion. It's safer. And of course, we all want to go safer no matter what.
Yeah.
And I think now you're getting more of the old school hard-ass officers are retiring. They may bitch about it, but they're out the door or already gone.
The thing that I found in this idea, because that's what I kind of got to put to work where I went for a few months. Even the old school officers are like, I would love to do this. Because at the end of the day, you're jumping out and you're catching the shitheads, the bad guys.
Yeah, you're going straight to it instead of just being pounced upon.
Now, would they love to get in pursuits and do all that stuff? Yeah, who doesn't? I don't care if you're even one of the most safe officers. Most cops love chasing.
Dude, thinking back, there ain't nothing more exciting than being in a vehicle pursuit, or a knockout, drag-out fight where you're winning.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Or a foot pursuit.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say I'm an adrenaline junkie. I'm not.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to hang off cliffs and, or towers and use a camera. Right. I don't like that type of shit.
Right.
And I don't know. It's just hard to explain.
Yeah.
I kind of tell all my friends when I was in the game, I wish you could experience that.
Yeah.
The foot pursuit, the car pursuit.
Yeah.
And then they would kind of understand.
Running next to him and be like, dude, stop. You're slow. Like, yeah, I'm going to knock you down. I kicked the guy's foot. I'm running next to him and like, I'm going to knock you down. You just stop. And he's like, no, you're not.
Oh, that's the one you kicked and he hit his face on the
No. That was a different dude.
Whatever.
I tased him.
That's all right.
That was different. Yeah.
Okay. So let's change gears.
Yeah. So that's one of the things I would change is that.
All right. And I think that's a good idea. So let's get lighthearted.
Okay.
DC or Marvel?
Marvel.
Okay.
It's not even a hard question.
So DC fans are?
So DC is like Superman, Batman.
Right.
Yeah.
So people who like Superman, Batman are different than the Marvel fans?
No. I mean, there's aspects to like from both. I'm not saying, but if I had to pick one over the other, I'm picking Marvel all day.
Well, when I was
growing
superpowers, DC comic book people were nerds, and Marvel comic book people were cool.
Oh, okay.
Agree or disagree?
I would agree.
Number one Marvel character with, I guess, power rating badass.
Oh, so many.
And you're going to get some feedback on this for sure because everybody has.
God.
I'm not a big comic book guy, but I kind of like to dabble in it from when I'm on the internet. And I want to say Thanos seems to get a lot of votes. And then there's some strange ones that I've never even heard of that are like multi-universe type badasses. And then it's not even a competition because they can change shit.
Yeah. Man. I really like it. There's several I like, but if I were to just pick one off the top of my head right now, Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange. Okay.
That appeals to me the most.
Is he your favorite, or does he think he's the biggest badass? It's a different category.
Yeah, I think his power's the best. I think what he's able to do is the best.
Who's your favorite?
My favorite is... Damn, my favorite person? I'm trying to think of who that would be.
I like the Deadpool guy. I don't know his character's name, but I just call it.
Yeah, Deadpool's...
And I only like him because of the movie. He's funny.
That's how he was in the comics, too.
Was he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like when you'd see the comics on or at least where I could buy comics at, his was in you had to get permission. Like it had like an adult
R-rated?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Like you had to be 18. I don't think it said on the comic you had to be 18 or older or had a rating or anything. But I do remember there was
they covered it up.
Yeah. And it said like
nudie
parental
magazines.
permission only at the pharmacy that I had seen. Man.
Really?
Yeah. So I'd always grab one from behind and then just have my grandma buy one for me.
My favorites were the Hulk and the Thing, mainly because the Hulk was just a badass and the Thing just looked cool.
Yeah, Hulk would be hard to stop, if at all possible. I don't think you can destroy Hulk. I don't know who my favorite is. I like so many. One that won me over that I didn't know a lot about at all was Black Panther.
Yeah.
I really liked Black Panther. Just because, so family oriented, and he had so much money towards the development of his stuff. He was kind of like a Tony Stark, but not an asshole.
Yeah. What about let's tweak it. Female.
Oh, female?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Of all the females, probably either Storm, just because it would be cool to be able to harness the power of weather, and then and she could fly, or Wonder Woman. And I know that's not Marvel, but those are my two favorite females.
I love Wonder Woman, and I love Captain Marvel.
No. I don't like her.
The character? No. I'm not saying the actress.
No, didn't like her. Don't like her powers.
She was a badass. She was the hero.
She is a Superman.
Okay, we had this conversation.
And I don't like Superman either.
Superman is the epitome. He's the epitome of the superheroes.
No.
The only thing he has negative is kryptonite.
Yeah.
Okay, so if there was no kryptonite in the realm, who could hurt him?
I know. That's another problem that I have.
Okay. So what about those anime characters that you get into? Is it called anime?
Yeah. Are
they
Dragon Ball?
Are they superheroes or what are they called?
They're not. Well, I guess they could be in something. I don't watch anime per se. I watched Dragon Ball series, like Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball.
Just all the Dragon Ball stuff. One of the Dragon Ball characters could kick Superman's ass.
Yeah, Goku.
Why?
All day long.
Why?
Because his power level is infinite. It just keeps going. And every time, his major superpower is he needs to get his ass kicked to make himself go to the next level. So Superman would be whooping his ass, and he would dig deep and find out that he's got more in the tank and figure he's the Rocky of anime. So that's why.
No, Superman whoop his ass.
Not even close.
I had an argument with one of my buddies on Facebook, and he was the same concept you were.
Yeah.
I think it's a generational thing.
Yeah, it could be.
We can't give up.
But you didn't grow up. I've watched both. You haven't.
Yeah. We can't give up Superman.
Yeah. I
think Batman's a waste.
Yeah.
I not that I hate him, but
he isn't a superhero. He's a rich dude.
I don't it's hard to buy into his skill set.
Right. Yeah.
Gadgets. Yeah, but he still a bullet could take him out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
I just don't like how clean Superman is. It's not realistic.
Right. Okay, that's a good.
Yeah. Like I like Captain America.
Yeah, I like Captain America too, but he's just a little bit boring for me.
I like him because he's able to see, he's able to reason, he has this dark part of him that, when he was wearing the dark Captain America stuff.
See, I don't know much about that part.
Yeah. Yeah. Because he was kind of like the Superman version. He was, red, white, and blue, but then he started seeing that there's politics and things, and it jaded him, and he didn't know who the good guy was anymore. So he was able to actually step back and question things and realize that, sometimes you got to knock some heads together to get shit done. So,
okay. Let's change a little bit. Still on entertainment type stuff.
Okay.
Favorite TV show growing up? TV show, not movie.
TV show growing up. Like what era? Because
whatever. Okay, you're thinking you're sitting in front of a TV and you're enjoying it. and you have, like, for me growing up, it was fucking Brady Bunch,
Okay.
Happy Days. The things that stood out.
So Family Matters. That was a big one. In Living Color.
Oh, yeah. Living Color.
Loved In Living Color. Let's see. I didn't have cable for the longest time, so I remember watching the reruns of Sanford and Son and Night Court and Cheers. Loved all of those.
Overrated show. Which one?
Ooh, overrated? Saturday Night Live. Big time.
See, back in the 70s, that shit was popular.
Yeah.
Kind of dwindling down in the 80s, and I can't even watch it today.
Yeah. I think the way Saturday Night Live works is you don't realize the genius until after. Sometimes it takes time.
Right.
And
then the good people always, they go after a year or two.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Speaking of, favorite comedian.
Ooh. Favorite comedian? Probably Dave Chappelle.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Dave Chappelle, by far.
Who do you think is the most, and this may be the wrong way to phrase it, I don't want to say intellectual, but the one that has like Chappelle says funny shit.
Yeah.
And it's not deep. It's just kind of.
I think he's insightful.
Okay. But.
The way he's able to paint a picture in your head, you know what I mean?
All right. You can include him, but you like Dave Chappelle.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else who's a little different type of
comedian?
Yeah, than Dave.
I like, my other two favorites are Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura, but I don't think that they're deep intellectual types by any means. I like Nikki Glaser. I think she's funny. I think she's ruthlessly funny in a different way. Like she can roast.
Who can't you stand? Don't understand why they are so popular. And I'll tell you mine.
As far as comedians go?
Yes, is Sarah Silverman.
I guess I never even really heard her do stand-up.
She's a little older,
I know
not
who she
relevant
is.
as much today.
Yeah. I guess Amy Schumer was never a big fan of hers. Guys, out of the dudes that are stand-ups that I didn't really care for. Let me see. They say some of them aren't relevant anymore. Jerry Seinfeld, he wasn't great to me.
No,
I loved his show, but
the show was good, and
stand-up wise,
he's the type that he'll make you chuckle, but he doesn't make you laugh like Chappelle.
Yeah.
All right, so let's kind of move on to a different type of. It's still entertainment, but what kind of music do you listen to?
Everything. I'm weird. I listen. If you look at my playlist, it'll go from a country song to.
All right, let's do verses. Country. Who's your favorite country?
Favorite country singer?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a tie between Cody Johnson and Whiskey Meyer and George Strait.
Okay,
those are my three favorites.
I was going to tell you I don't even know the first two.
Okay.
All right, and I was going to say. Old school versus new school. So you did include George Strait.
Yeah.
George Strait, and even some of the older ones. George Jones, Johnny Cash.
Conway Twitty.
Yeah. Hairman.
Yeah.
Okay. So you like country.
Love country.
And those who you stick out in your head. What about rock? Who sticks out?
Are we talking like...
Let's not talk heavy metal. Let's just talk regular rock and roll.
I was going to say, because you got like Metallica, which I would consider metal.
Right.
And then you got rock, which would be like Kiss.
Yeah. Let's do rock.
Oh. So do the Eagles count as rock to you, or is that more of a...
I think they were mainly rock. They could be pop, but some even people thought they were country back in the day.
And Styx.
Okay.
So I like Styx a lot. That whole 70s rock genre, like, I love all those guys. But
I don't know if you noticed, I posted on Facebook about a week ago, maybe less, of Bachman Turner Overdrive, BTO.
Okay.
And they're a Canadian band, but they're back in the 70s. And one of the songs was You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet. Right?
Yeah. I like 38 Revolver.
So I posted, get you some of this, youngsters. And then all my old friends posted, hell yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. Yeah. So, did you pick a rock band or singer?
Well, Styx would be my favorite.
Okay.
Yeah, I like Styx a lot.
Okay, so we got country, rock, rappers.
Ooh. So my favorite rappers, I'll go with my top 3 because there's so many. I listened to a lot of rap growing up. I would say Tupac.
See, I never really. I may have heard his songs, but did not know it was him.
Okay.
So I don't know enough about him.
Yeah.
As far as the music he's saying, I'm sure if I heard it and I go, I know that song.
Yeah.
Then that's Tupac.
Yeah. So Tupac, Eminem, and Nas.
Who?
Nas.
What's he sing? Is it he?
He's out of New York. So you probably don't know his stuff.
The problem I have with rap is, and I'm not an old timer, but
you are.
I'm not a fuddy-duddy, but
yeah,
I don't mind swearing in the music, but when you rely too much on it,
I get that.
I don't.
Yeah. The people I named, I don't think that would be an issue for you.
Okay.
They curse, they do, but it's more of the lyrics and how deep the lyrics go. Even when you think you know, like you end up finding out later in life, like, holy shit. Like,
yeah, I've noticed that what you thought was a good, clean, wholesome, it was about something fucked up.
Yeah.
All right. Favorite movie?
Ooh, favorite movie?
Top favorite movies ever.
Star Wars series.
Okay, if you had to pick
one episode?
Yes.
I
know it's hard to do for something like that, but
that's hard.
All right, skip that
one. I can't.
That's
too hard.
It's a saga.
Yeah.
So, Star Wars, what else?
Star Wars, Lord of the Rings.
What?
Yep.
I don't know if I just couldn't keep up with it. It just bored me out or what.
John Wick series.
Those are good.
Yep. Let me think what else. Yeah, I'll say those are my top 3 right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we got your singers, got your favorite movie, favorite TV show. What's one thing about Eric Levine that you think would surprise most people?
Surprise most people?
They're kind of shocked.
I don't know. I pretty much tell everything. I'm looking around my room like, what is weird about me that nobody would know? I don't know. What's something weird that you think would shock people?
Let me think about this.
I can't.
All right, we'll come back to that.
I've been with the same girl since like 7th grade.
Okay, that's
different.
That's odd.
Yeah.
Let's go on with that. So you met Sarah in 7th grade, and you kind of dated on and off.
We technically met when we were about 5.
5, and then you got married at what age?
22, 23.
Okay,
somewhere in there.
Right.
Yeah. 05, whatever that is.
And then you lost your virginity to her.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I lost it again last night too.
Again?
Getting it?
Can't do that way. Yeah. Doesn't work that way. Well, I did hear once that, where was that? Someone said, and it had to do with, I think it was a TV show or I don't know where I heard it.
Yeah.
If you wait 7 years, you're a virgin again.
Oh, that's the rule?
Yeah.
Oh. I will never be a virgin again.
For women, not you.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, if I wait 3 days, I feel like I'm a virgin again. So,
okay, so you can't think of anything that's people would consider.
No, I don't know what they would think. I mean, if people, I think a lot of people are surprised that I have an education, but because I don't talk that way.
Yeah,
I don't.
You don't come across like, hey, I've got all these degrees, so
yeah,
I know more than you.
No, I think the way I did it is why I'm that way, because I didn't do education first like everybody else. I actually kind of lived a little. I did the work, you know, at the same time that I was trying to get educated a little bit. And by the time I finished school, I had already been a cop for quite a while. So, and I don't look at me coming in as, I know for a fact having it doesn't make me a better cop.
So what's your biggest fault?
My memory. I don't know if that counts. I have count ass memory. I'm sorry, I have a bad memory. They don't know what count me.
So you have a bad memory.
I have bad memory. And I
did you, when you went through the review board, did they ask you what was your
biggest
weaknesses and strengths?
One of my weaknesses is my obsessive compulsiveness with things. Like, I get fixated real easy, and
right,
it puts your blinders on in a way to certain things. So I consider that a weakness.
What's your best strength? What is your strengths?
Helping.
Yeah.
Like, I figure it, like, the two things that I think I excel at is seeing needs for stuff. You know, I hate, with a passion, this is how we've done it. I hate that.
Are you a fixer?
I'm a fixer. Yeah. So if not even necessarily fixer, because I just see gaps. That's what I look for.
Well, when I was working, you know, just like you said, this is the way we've always done it. And I would always find an easier or better way to do shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it always rocked the boat.
Yeah.
Because
cops hate change.
You didn't get permission to do that.
Yeah.
Well, I still got the outcome that we're trying to do. I just did it differently.
Why do you care if the path went a different way, as long as it gets to the same goal?
One example. Back in the day, we were working on different types of shifts and which would work better. Well, I had noticed that whatever the pattern was, you know, whether it was these officers come in at shift A comes in at such and such time, and shift B comes in whatever time it was. I can't remember exactly, but we had just changed, and I noticed that the staffing couldn't keep up with. There weren't enough cars. We had officers standing around for an hour waiting on people to come in for cars.
Mm-hmm.
So I staggered the shifts. Like, A team came in at, say, 8 o'clock, and then B team came in at 8:30 or something like that. I don't remember. And so I did it, and I never had people waiting on cars, and so it was more efficient. And it didn't, in my opinion, it didn't affect anything.
Right.
Okay. I just had officers coming in 30 minutes later.
Yeah.
Or 30 minutes early. And it was equal. And about 2 months later, the assistant chief calls me, and that time it was the deputy chief calls me and goes, "Hey, I just had an officer come in here and tell me that your shifts are different." I said, "Yeah." "Well, you didn't ask anybody. I mean, you can't just change stuff like that." And I go, "Well, this works better, and it's what my area of town needs, and it's more efficient, and I thought this was my command, and you relied on us to take care of our command." And then she goes, "Well, yeah, but it affects other people." I said, "Like who?" "Dispatch." I said, "So they go into service 30 minutes earlier or later is going to do what to dispatch?"
Not a goddamn thing.
So she goes, I go, look, Chief, I'll switch it back tonight if you want me to. Oh, no, don't do anything. We're going to have a meeting on this. A month later, the entire city adopted my plan.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm hoping with this real-time thing. I'm hoping, that they...
And it's just, it was an obvious need, and people wouldn't think out of the box.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm a rebel or anything, but it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And why would you be against a no-brainer?
Yeah.
I'm not taking anybody off the streets or causing a backlog or whatever. There was no negative about it.
Yeah. That's the same type of stuff I try to do everywhere I go. The property crimes team's the biggest one that I've done. I didn't invent anything. I just took what worked for other units and kind of turned it into what I do.
Tweaker.
And yeah, I tweaked it and then took my nerd side where I like to follow numbers and stuff. I'm bad with numbers, which is funny. I'm terrible with numbers, but I can read the numbers and stuff like that and apply them to trends and stuff like that. So, I basically started looking at trends for property crimes where I was at and then divvying those trends that actually had leads to follow and giving them to my team, and my team would go out and find stuff. And we were highly successful. So, changed that a little bit, rewrote the standard operating procedures for it, got those approved up.
Right.
And now I don't know if all the property crimes teams do exactly what we do. I just know that Command has tried to push that on all the rest of the property crimes teams. So my success there has been very good for my reputation, I guess you should say. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And it's because it's fun.
What's next for Eric Levine?
Sergeant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm eligible to promote in November. I know our personal list, dies in December, so the timing is perfect for me. So I will definitely probably try to promote. Now, if they pull me back to real time and I get to keep doing that, that may change my mind. Maybe I'll do that for another year.
Well, depending on where you fall on the list for sergeant, it could be multiple months before you get promoted. And so you could do the real time for 6-8 months. And then,
like, if they release the test or they say that there's going to be a new test in January, that means 3 months from then. So January, February, March, I'll be taking the test and then still probably won't promote until mid-year.
I'm going to switch back to policing.
Mm-hmm.
In your specific department, do you have any positions that are useless, in your opinion?
Useless?
Or where there could be...
Do I think... Okay, positions that are useless, no. Not being utilized properly, yes.
All right, and the reason I'm doing this is because I think there are a lot of positions that are a police position that could be a civilian position.
Okay. I don't know about that necessarily. I just think, like, specifically NPOs is a big one for me. I tried being an NPO for three tries, never got it. But I see so much potential for what an NPO can do, and there are some great NPOs that do exactly that. Guadarrama was one of them. Mm-hmm. Starry was another one.
Is Guad still NPO?
No, I think.
Where's he at now?
I think he either promoted or just took a new position.
Okay,
but I think he promoted. I could be wrong. But do I think NPOs as a whole do what I think should be done? No. For me, NPOs, we've gotten to a trend, they're too community oriented. They do need to be community oriented, but they also need to be the sword sometimes. Right. They need to be like, all right, guys, here's your issue. you guys are coming to me. This is a big problem over here at this one location. Now I'm going to get with this unit, and we are going to saturate and, you know, run details and arrest people and do all this stuff. Like, we're going to fix the problem. Typically what I see is MPO gets the information. Hey, this is a problem area over here. Guys, go handle that problem for me. I'm going to keep going to these town hall meetings and basically hands off. I mean, you ask them, when's the last time you've put somebody in the jail? And they haven't done it since the report rating system changed.
They do the Homer Simpson and
fall back in the bushes. Yeah. So, and it's not all their fault. They're told you have to make these meetings. You have to go to this. You have to go to that.
Right.
So part of that fix for me would be like, listen, like you cannot put all these requirements on them. NPO is a general position, and let them have the decision making.
Are you
both back and forth?
Okay, I get you. So you don't think there's any useless position? You just think that it's not utilized
right
more efficiently?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
And if you can name one, maybe I can agree with you. But from what I'm thinking on the top of my head, like, you know, our SWAT's really good. I like SWAT. You can't have a civilian do that. You know, DWIs, NARC.
Okay,
all
let me ask you about SWAT. Could you have a elite task force of ex-military that all they do is SWAT call-outs?
Oh, could you?
Like you subcontract a SWAT unit?
Ooh. I don't know. Never thought of that. That would be interesting.
Get a bunch of, you know, people like yourself. Say you were in the military for 8 years and then you got all this training and you go be a what do you call that? Subcontractor.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
And then you don't have any benefit issues like insurance and
yeah. But at the same time, you don't have an arrest authority. You'd have to be a peace officer.
Yeah. Okay. So how about detective work?
Detective work?
Mm-hmm.
Could a civilian
investigate a case?
Ooh. It's not that I don't think civilians would be capable. I think they're capable. You know, in my opinion, that's kind of what FBI are.
Okay. Slam a dam.
Yep. But
you work a case, you get a report, you work a case, you interview people.
Yeah.
You look at evidence.
Yeah.
You try to find the probable cause.
But there's that human police element to, you think of all your badass detectives, you know, they were the guys that had real street time in.
Yeah.
Because the ones that suck either didn't really make the most of their patrol time anyway, or lack people skills, I've noticed.
Okay.
So if you lack people skills and you've got no police work behind you, like, I just don't see you being, it's not that you can't be successful. I just don't see you being as successful as fast.
Okay. And the reason I thought of that investigator position is because you see a lot of officers who become investigators and they're decent at investigating cases and, you know, writing warrants and getting cases solved, but they're no longer a street cop.
Right.
They're a paper pusher, basically.
Right. But are they good at solving because of all that time they put on the street?
I would say some of it is.
Some, yeah.
Let's face it, a lot of times it's, you just follow the path.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
you can get a warrant and go that route.
Yeah.
I guess I'm bitter because I've seen enough of people promote to that position just to get out of patrol.
Right.
And if there's so many of that do that, well, fuck it, just civilianize that position.
But that tells you something that you're fucking up with patrol. It has nothing to do with the detective position. It's
true.
Like,
okay, let's say how many of those badass street cops are detectives now?
Not a lot.
Okay, so the majority.
Yeah.
So we're saying the majority of the detectives is either they want off the streets, or they just like more of the challenge of the paperwork, the thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And I get this. It comes from, we need more officers on the street, and I'm trying to think of getting more officers on the street. It's just a way of trying to increase actual patrol officers.
Right.
So that's why I thought, well, could they investigate?
Yeah.
That's kind of where I was thinking.
I guess it just depends on what because I get torn between these two things. Is my goal to take the violent, the bad, the worst of the worst off the streets? Or is my goal to just handle calls? Because how many calls do we take are bullshit.
Yeah, and that was another issue I was going to bring up. We've had, in the past, committees put together and come up with ideas of, hey, patrol officers don't need to be doing this, don't need to be responding to this,
right.
this, and this. And it sounds good, it looks good on paper, but they always are spineless, and they go back to every call gets an officer, basically.
Right. Yeah.
And they don't, I'm sure you ever had a dispatcher on here?
No, I've tried. Yeah, I think I could get one. But I had Kraus,
right,
head of dispatch, the commander for dispatch, or whatever you call it.
There are so many calls that it's not police related or needed.
Yeah.
And I think the decision makers are afraid to bite the bullet and say, no, you're not getting a call.
Yeah. I would like to have a floating officer that stays at dispatch. And when a dispatcher has it, can you take a look at this one? And he's like, that's not a police call.
Well, they rely on that for the sergeants in patrol to look at the details. And then they pawn it off on the sergeant. Sergeant, can you call? Well, at least that's the way they did it when I was still there.
And it's still done that way. But, have an officer sitting floating around during the call taker stuff, a light duty officer.
Yeah.
I volunteered.
Don't get me started on light duty.
I know. I volunteered. I went down and talked to Kraus. I said, hey, I want to come down and just see what's going on with the call takers and stuff like that. So went down and sat there for a few hours, and I didn't stay a whole shift by any means. But
what do you think of this idea? When you apply for a police department, there should be some kind of assessment done to you. Like, yes, you meet the qualifications to become a police officer, but you're best suited for detective work, or you're best suited for...
Well, I've made this argument that some departments I've seen that I applied to back in the day was they had basically an administrative path or the street path.
Yeah, and I think that's where I'm going.
Yeah, I love that because it's not fair for me who likes doing the street stuff to have to go sit behind a desk.
Right.
And I don't want to do that. Like, you're putting me in a spot I don't even want to be in. And what product are you going to get from somebody? Now, don't get me wrong. I was fine with it. I liked it.
And you should, and I say even go one step further. When you are in the academy, you have it's like the military, Mm-hmm. Everybody goes through a basic, but then they get specialized.
Yeah.
So you either specialize in patrol and, tactics.
And allow them the ability to cross-train. Let them, like, if they start going down the admin path and they're like, this is boring.
And you get rid of that officer is a useless patrol officer.
Yeah.
Well, they're not, they weren't hired to be a patrol officer. They were hired to be a pencil pusher.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, a paper pusher.
Yeah. Because I've had great sergeants that I heard were shit detectives.
Yeah.
But they were great patrol officers.
Right.
And you talk to them and you're like, dude, like, I was kind of nervous because I heard, like, that detective work, you were doing the bare minimum.
Yeah.
But in patrol as a sergeant, like, you're awesome. I don't understand what the deal is. And come down to, that particular sergeant's like, I hated being a detective. I didn't want to be there.
I just had a conversation with a retired officer, and we saw a video on Facebook of this officer trying to make an arrest and didn't even attempt. The guy ran from him, Didn't even attempt to chase
him.
him. Kind of like, but clearly fat, not a shape. And
the officer?
Yeah. And would never catch him. And so if you did that specialized path, admin path, street path, then you would know, you would get rid of that, you're a sucky ass patrol officer. Well, I never was hired on to be a patrol officer. I'm going to be admin.
Yeah.
So then the lazy, the admin type driven officers, they're not meant to do patrol.
Right.
So you have your patrol stormtroopers, and then you have your desk officers.
Yeah. And I think that's a better way to do it. I know the numbers don't always allow that. Some departments just they need bodies. It doesn't matter. But yeah, I think that's the way to go. I don't think you should force anybody to go sit behind a desk that has no desire to sit behind a desk. Go let them be a field corporal. But also you can't pigeonhole them either. You can't say, okay, well, you chose the path of patrol corporal.
Right. You
can't come back.
And if you wanted to say admin wasn't for you, it was too boring.
Yeah.
Okay, you can come to the street side, but if you didn't qualify for the street side, for example, your physical assessment for your desk job isn't going to be as demanding as your street job.
Yeah.
So if you want to cross over, then you got to hit the minimums. Whatever you decide to.
Oh, yeah. Don't get me started on
So let's get off
PT
that.
standards.
Let's get on a little more interesting question. If you had to, can only pick one.
Okay.
For the rest of your life, are you drinking beer or are you drinking whiskey?
Whiskey. Hands down.
Hands down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I don't feel full.
What do you say to people that put down IPAs?
Closed-minded.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there's all kinds of memes out there and funny stuff about IPA drinkers.
Yeah.
And I was one of them. I hated IPAs.
Yeah, we both did.
Couldn't stand them.
I hate them.
They're not my go-to drink, but I will drink them.
Yeah. It has to be the right. I'm a seasonal drinker.
Yeah.
Like if it's winter time, I'm drinking a stout.
See, I used to love stouts. I can't drink them anymore.
Yeah.
So you said whiskey.
Mm-hmm. Specifically bourbon.
Bourbon.
Yep.
Okay. So which is your bourbon?
Smoke wagon.
Smoke wagon.
Yeah. And I didn't even realize this is a rye. I didn't know that. These are ryes. They're delicious though.
So they started a
smoke wagon's my shit.
A whiskey scotch bourbon club on your department Facebook.
They did?
Yep.
Oh, no clue.
Yeah, with Sarge, he'll add you.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that. From HRH Combat?
Yep.
Shout out to one of my sponsors. Yeah. How you like my new sponsor? Agent Security.
How do you pronounce it?
Agent. Yeah. It's just spelled funny. I think they do that for marketing. Yeah. But yeah. AGEINT. Yeah. Yeah, I'm loving them guys so far. Told you I got a Navy SEAL coming on from Act of Valor, the movie.
Okay, so what's his name?
Wymie. Brendan Weimholt, I think is how you actually say his name. Let me.
Is he still retired or?
Yeah, he's out. Yeah, Brendan Weimholt, and his name on the team was Wymie.
And how old is he?
Shit, I would say he's probably in his 40s.
So you can ask him to do some push-ups when he gets in here? See how many he can do?
No. No, but his thing is, I didn't know this.
Did you ever kill anybody?
Fuck, I'm not asking him that.
You know,
our big thing, what we're going to talk about, one of my frustrating things, because I like Rogan's podcast.
Yeah.
And Rogan always has these guys that are all around law enforcement, but they're not actually police. So he'll have these Navy SEAL guys, have CIA guys, all these people, and they'll talk about police work. And I'm listening, when you listen to a podcast that long, that much, you start to feel like you're actually a part of the conversation. So I'll be sitting in the truck, I'm like, fucking Rogan, really, dude? No. Like, you're missing a part. Like, I get what you're saying. I'm not saying you're wrong, but there's just an aspect that a Navy SEAL doesn't have. He didn't do the job. He doesn't understand that training he's talking about doesn't necessarily apply to police work.
Well,
so,
there's it's been glamorized. If you're a Navy SEAL, you know how to do everything.
Yeah. And I don't ever think that the guys that are on there are trying to come across like they know exactly. I think they're coming across from what they know from experience.
And I want to say, before they were called SEALs, weren't they called something else?
Yeah, they
Frogmen
were
or something.
Well, that was part of it. God, what was it? Jesse the Body Ventura. He was
one.
He was one before they were called SEAls. I cannot remember what the name of those were. Shit.
And I want to say they were water focused, right?
Well, I mean, it's Navy SEAL, land, sea, air. They do it all. Let me see here. I can look it up. I'm sorry.
And most people get washed up in that unit.
Yeah.
Going for it even because of the swimming or whatever they do. Fuck that shit. I got to give people props for that. I'm not getting in the water.
Literally,
speaking of, let me
SEAL means sea, air, and land.
Sea, air, and land.
I didn't know that.
So they swim, they skydive.
God, I want to say it was UDTs or something like that, but I could be wrong. I'm looking. What were Navy? Oh, here we go. What were Navy SEALs called? Men with green faces. UDT. I was right.
UDT? What does that mean?
I'm typing up what does UDT stand for because I don't remember. Underwater Demolition Team. That's what it was. Yeah.
Blow shit up underwater.
Yeah. As bad as my memory is, I'm surprised UDT came out. You know how I remembered it? Was from a cadence that we used to use when we'd run in basic and shit. So, even the Air Force was singing about Navy SEALs in the Air Force. So that's how badass they are.
Did you see the latest video about the differences between the armed forces and haircuts? How they get a haircut?
Yes.
In basics?
Yeah. I think I sent that one to you.
Yeah.
Or you sent it to me, one of the two.
Where they...
The way when they're shaving them.
The Army and then the Marines, they just fuck it and just shave everything off. And
yeah.
I forget what the Navy ones did. Wasn't as aggressive. And then there was the Air Force where they're getting poured a drink.
A drink of bourbon, a cigar. That's great. I love it. I remember jumping your shit one time on Facebook. I'm like, you don't get to fucking make fun. That's the rule. Like you weren't in, so you don't get to play that game. Like
I can't share into it. Huh?
No, you can't. You don't get to be a part of it.
Even though I think it's funny, huh?
Yeah, it doesn't work. You'll get your shit jumped.
It's kind of like what's that called? Were you stolen
valor?
Valor.
Yeah. That's a big one. I hate that shit. That pisses me off.
I would never. I kind of like back in the day as a kid. I wore an Army jacket.
Yeah.
But it was just, that's it.
You were wearing it because you were honoring. You were thinking it's cool. Like you're not wearing it to go pretend that you served. That's the big difference.
Yeah.
And you get these people that try to pretend.
We would even go to the Goodwills and Salvation Armies back in the day and try to find the oldest fucking issue jacket we could find.
Yeah.
Because it was just, I guess that was cool back in the day.
Yeah. You can still, to this day, people are finding like Purple Hearts and stuff that were taken to Goodwill that were from, war heroes and shit that.
I wouldn't mind finding those and putting them in some kind of display, but.
Yeah. Or trying to get it back to the families, stuff like that. Because usually that's what happens is it gets somehow got away from the family and then they're unaware.
I wonder if is there any identification on it in the back?
Sometimes. I don't know, so I've never got a Purple Heart. So I could ask my buddy. My buddy got me. Oh, you can't see it. There's a Stein over there. He's an E9 in the Army.
Who's that?
My buddy Eric Paz. He's an airborne.
And you get a Purple Heart for getting injured?
Injured. You being like, I don't remember how.
Is there a degree of injury?
No. It has to be from enemy fire or something to that effect. So I think an IED counts now. I think for a long time it didn't. Like it was an unknown thing because you're not actually being shot at. You're getting some random bomb. So they were like, well, does that count? And
well, I forget who the comedian was, but if you serpentine, you don't get hit.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you got a zigzag.
Who was yelling at it? It's in a movie. Serpentine.
Serpentine, yeah. I feel like it's a Kevin Hart thing.
Oh, and speaking of Kevin Hart, I'm not a big fan of his because
I like Kevin.
He says funny shit, and I don't know why.
I like his energy. Me. How he talks on stage, how he is how my brain is.
Well,
in my head, that's how I am constantly.
A buddy of mine, you know him, Brian, he went and saw him. He said, he's fucking hilarious.
Oh, yeah. Dude,
and
I've seen some videos of him. People like one of the things people that I work with enjoy a lot is like, I will roast you. Like, if you start in on me, like, I'm quick. Like, I'll get you. Like,
yeah.
You know, I'll nail you. Well, I've watched some Kevin Hart stuff where people start going in on him and he's like, this ain't your world. Like I do this for a little, like you don't want to start, and they'll keep going at him, and he just fucking lights them up, and that's where he's really good. He can roast.
Yeah,
he's good.
So back in the day when we would have in-service training, there'd be about 30, 40 of us in a class.
Yeah,
and one time I got into class with 6 or 7 of us class clowns.
Oh, that's the best.
And holy shit, it was so funny.
I'm trying to think of what was it? JT Morgan. That's yeah. So
but he was in there.
Yeah, that's one of the ones I was thinking of. So.
JT, myself, oh God. It's some
Leary.
Oh, yeah, Larry.
I want him on here so bad. Oh, you two should both come on.
We should tell you our story, our fight story.
Oh, yeah, at the coffee shop?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a good one. Two fucking crusty bastards that haven't been in a fight in forever at work.
And the funny thing is, Chris had just got certified in the new taser.
Yeah, still fucked it up.
And I had one, but
yeah,
I never used it.
Yeah.
And he had this guy all wrapped up in wires and it didn't work.
Yeah.
And I didn't know, I didn't want to touch him because he's wrapped up in wires.
Yeah. Well, if you touch the wires, like, it'll get you.
And then there's all kinds of techniques with that shit that the zapper.
Yeah.
We didn't know.
Yeah.
We're just old.
Yeah.
And
you didn't pay attention in class.
Yeah.
In your rank.
You just pull the trigger, right?
In your rank, they just signed off. Like, hey, fucking, they ain't going to use it.
You know, speaking of rank, I came off of O-days because I had surgery.
Mm-hmm.
I had to qualify. So I had to qualify by myself.
Oh, okay.
And it was valet service.
Hell yeah. Of course.
Valet service.
As a lieutenant, of course.
Let me, here, I'll load your
bags
for you. I'll load your bags for you. And I went to go clean my gun. No, I got it.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah, but to that effect, too, that goes to the type of lieutenant you were. Because they weren't doing that for every lieutenant. I don't care.
One time a shithead, he was a captain at the time, or maybe a major when we had majors.
Oh, that's one of the things you should talk about.
And he goes, hey, I need you to clean my gun. He goes,
a major said that to you?
No, to the staff down at the
At the academy?
Yeah. And he goes, the gun cleaning room's right over there. Well, executive privilege. I mean, I'm a captain or a major. And he goes, and I have to give it to this officer. He didn't back down. I don't care you are. You clean your own damn gun.
Ah, that's fucking perfect. I would have said the same shit. Like, you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Clean your gun.
And
you dirtied it.
And the only reason I know that because after they did that for me, I was like, holy shit, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And he goes, Yeah, we don't do that for everybody. Yeah. This is what happened.
Okay.
And I'm like, they're going to do it for the chief.
Yeah.
And they're going to do it for most of the other high
ones. Yeah.
But I think if this guy was even the chief, they would have said, no, I'm not cleaning it.
Yeah. It's how you come across. Like, I wouldn't expect that ever.
Yeah. It's kind of like going to eat.
Yeah.
Well, I'm an officer. Don't want to get free food?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I can't stand that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, if that happens by me, because we both know what officer I'm thinking of in my head, that I called out for it and paid for his food in front of him
and then tipped.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck that. I hate that shit. That pisses me off.
We had when I was in narcotics, we ate lunch and the lady goes, "Oh, I forgot to give you half off." Well, don't worry about it, right?
It's too late. Yeah.
And we got it. And she goes, "I just got yelled at by some captains because they didn't get their discount."
Oh, no.
And then one of the narc officers I worked with was married to one of those captains. And, well, the divorced.
Right.
And called her up and said, "What the fuck are y'all doing?
Oh, no.
I heard about you demanding or bitching about half price.
Captain's pay."
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, and then he was just an officer that was ex.
Yeah.
But he went off on her and said, "You're pathetic."
So stupid. I hate that. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. And people are listening like, "Oh, you don't get discounts?" Yeah, I get discounts. It's awesome. I don't ask for it. And I sure as hell would if I didn't get one at a place I normally do. I ain't going to say anything.
The good training officers tell you right off, look, don't go anywhere that you can't afford to go to or you can't pay.
Yeah.
What does happen sometimes is you go intending to pay, but they don't give you a ticket. And now you can't tip because there's no ticket to give a card on.
Oh, yeah. I make them.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Hey, charge me for a water. Charge me for like one Mexican restaurant we go to a lot. I'm like, charge me for the praline so I can leave a tip."
Yeah.
Yeah. And what my practice has always been, whatever the discount is the tip.
Yeah.
And then the waiters love it because they're making out even more than what they would have beforehand. Yeah. So as a person who was a waiter for a long time, I would appreciate that too. I would look forward to cops coming in.
I was going to get to that, but I think we're running out of time
There's no time limit. We're not even at 2 hours.
So I think
we're at 1:54.
Service industry, like a waiter, bartender, janitor, where you wait on people.
That's a perfect pre-job before being a cop.
Not even just a cop, just being decent people.
People, yeah.
You understand people.
Yeah,
you get treated like shit, then you realize, or you should, what it feels like.
Yeah, and when you know your tip, your money depends on keeping your cool, even when you're dealing with a Karen that's, sent her steak back a few times.
Look, I was chastised. I can't say Karen anymore.
Huh?
Yeah. Because your cousin's married to a Karen.
And there's difference. I'm not saying.
No, I'm just saying I was chastised. Don't bring it up anymore.
That's different.
And she brings Karen into the conversation on Facebook. And she goes, "Yeah, I know, blah, blah, blah." And not that Karen actually gave a shit. But, but Leia put her out there.
Oh, no.
Like, oh, crap. So
there's a difference.
And I had another Karen. I was going to comment on something and say, "Oh, okay, Karen." But I'm like, shit, no, I can't do that anymore.
Oh, I'm still going to do it. So if it has nothing to do with them, it's different. So,
well, Leia, she likes to start shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She's gotten into it with, I've had people on my Facebook page complain about her asking me to either ban her or delete her comments or whatever. And I'm like, all I respond with, hey, and this is for everybody listening. Listen, on my Facebook group, you all are adults. I am not there to censor anybody's talk. Now, if they get into hate speech, yeah, sure, I'll get rid of it. But other than that,
if you're stirring the pot,
yeah,
and you give and take, right?
Give and take.
If you can't take it, don't bother.
Yeah. Or even if you're not giving it and they give it to you, I don't care. Just ignore them. You've got that option. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to engage. If you choose to engage, well, that's on you.
I've got so many messages about Jim Fessler. Where'd you meet this guy? And some think it's not even a person, it's me.
Oh, they think you're Jim?
Stirring the pot.
I can assure you, Jim is a real person. I should have Jim on here.
Oh.
I don't know what we would talk about, but I would have Jim on. I think Jim would be a good dude.
Yeah, he's
I could just let him go on about what he thinks about police work.
He's pro cop. He just hates traffic cops.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily.
All he sees is cops hiding behind a billboard.
So there's a guy, I think his name is Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro?
Not Ben Shapiro. No. He's a Toronto cop, and he does a podcast for their department. Mm-hmm. And we're friends on Instagram.
Right.
And I've been trying to get him to go on the show. The way his program works is he's a traffic cop, or used to be, and that's his expertise. And he just answers questions for an hour to Toronto citizens about traffic code and all this stuff. And he's a good personality on Instagram.
Why'd they do this?
Yeah. Like, why are they doing this? Like, can you arrest me for this? Why did this cop let me go for going 20 miles over? And he's like, I wouldn't have let you go. So he goes in all that stuff. So I'm trying to get him on. He's a good personality. And his focus is primarily on traffic, but
right.
Our overall goal is the same thing. But he's supported, like, his is through his department. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, but he has to stay within the boundaries.
Yes. Yeah, he does. He does a great job. It's I'll ask dumb questions while he's doing his live. He does a live if you're ever interested in Toronto. Matter of fact, since I'm talking about him,
how cold is it up there?
I want to give him credit while we're doing it. Let me see. Get out of here. Toronto. I think that's it. Yep. It's called Traffic Services Toronto. That's on Instagram. Traffic Services Toronto. He's got 5,000 followers just about. Let me show the camera.
So it's kind of like a public service for the department thing.
Yeah. It's really what it is. It's traffic service media relations, and that's what they do. And like I said, he just, you can tell he's got a good soul. He's a good dude, and I like that. And so I've been trying to get him onto the podcast to kind of talk about what Toronto's doing.
Yeah,
to try to inform their citizens and all that stuff. So he's going to be on, just a matter of time. And yeah.
Let me say one thing to piss off some former coworkers.
Okay. That's you.
I still say the department that I used to work for, that you still work for,
yep,
needs a fucking rotation in specialized units.
They're doing it because they're pulling the only lieutenant from Real Time and Fusion who's certified.
But you need in every specialized unit a rotation. They dabbled with it. They almost did it, and they kind of did it. It was bullshit. Yeah. But
they're doing it now.
It would come to this. Why do you want to get rid of a seasoned person? Because they're seasoned. Well, I'm not saying just get rid of the seasoned person. The next thing you know, you have a rookie.
Yeah.
You've got to prepare.
Yeah.
Have someone ready.
Yeah.
Because nothing irritates, pisses off, and diminishes morale more than I can never get a spot somewhere because there's other people who are stuck there. Mm-hmm. And I'll give you some examples so you kind of know what I'm talking about. Back in my day, we had SWAT officers. When you think SWAT, right? there should be the best. I'm good. Best physically fit type officers, period, because of the demanding job.
Right.
And there used to be a running joke. It's harder to get out of SWAT than get into SWAT. And what I meant by that was they would milk that shit out for years.
Oh.
And it takes so long to get specialized in training. I get it. Yeah, but still a rotation.
Yeah.
Still a rotation.
I get it.
It may be a little bit longer than, say, another specialized unit that doesn't need that much training, but still a rotation.
Yeah.
I think it does wonders for morale.
Yeah.
And what affects the department more overall? A few things. Morale, fairness, right?
Beards.
I'm
happy.
So
I wish I could get you to grow one.
Oh, it comes in too red. Oh, well, now I probably come in
Bitch,
gray.
look at mine. Mine's calico. I don't care.
I don't want to look like a cat.
Mine's red, black, white, brown.
I think mine would come in mostly gray.
Hell yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Come on, just do it. You're retired. Just do it once.
I just don't want to deal with upkeep.
There's less upkeep. You don't have to. You shave this little part. You shave this little part, and you shave here. That's it.
Yeah. Well,
versus
maybe
you're shaving all this real estate.
Why do I want to hide beauty with a beard?
You don't. That's man's makeup.
Did you hear? Did you hear what Patty called you on Facebook?
No.
You took a picture with that kid dancer up on the.
Oh yeah, Jalen.
Yeah.
She
goes, I thought you were Chuck Norris for a minute. Because your hat.
My cowboy hat.
And your beard.
Oh, that's funny.
And I saw it a little bit.
Yeah, a little resemblance.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, I would. I don't know why, but it sticks. I guess because I was kind of blackballed.
Mm-hmm.
Why I pushed.
When you tried to get on specialized units?
When I pushed
yeah,
rotations.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say that was the main reason, but.
Yeah. I don't disagree if you do it accordingly. But like in this case with Keck, he's the only one certified.
Right.
And it takes a lot of time to get to that point. Now, I don't know the steps they're taking for his replacement. They may be like waiting and
did they kick him out already?
I don't know. That's the thing. Cuz I'm kind of talking out of my ass cuz I don't know how they're handling it. I just know they're booting him.
Well, it's basic business leadership 101.
Yeah.
You can't have somebody so specialized that no one else can do the job. What if they get sick?
Yeah.
Go on vacation.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And one of the things that the higher you go, the less I care.
Yeah, because let's face it. I mean, when you get high enough, you're more of a manager than
but as
specialized,
like as a cop,
right?
You know, you don't want to make promotion look like a disease, because one of the things about promoting is, now it's different. Now everybody's retirement depends on promoting.
That's true, yeah.
And that sucks because you're not getting necessarily the best person to promote.
You're just getting out of necessity. Someone wants a better pension.
So if you give more of an incentive to stay as an officer, and now that officer wants to be a SWAT officer, that sucks because they're like, well, I'm never going to get SWAT. These guys aren't going anywhere.
Well, years ago, they adjusted pay for that career patrol officer, step pay raises.
Right.
You do 20-year patrol officer, you got paid a lot more than your first 5 years.
But now your retirement is dependent. So the balance, they haven't figured out a way to balance it out yet.
Yeah. Why should brass make, $50,000 more in pension than your dedicated patrol officer?
Yeah, because you got guys like Johnny Cox.
Yeah.
Cream of the crop when it comes to patrol officers.
Right.
And that guy, could you imagine had he promoted? Now, luckily, he's been in long enough. His retirement's going to be based off of what your retirement was.
Right.
But a guy like me, I have to promote.
Yeah.
Now, I would have never stayed as a patrol officer. That my whole goal was to do way better than what you did.
Right.
You know, you fucked up. Your mouth got you into the part where you got. So I've been trying to balance that line, following behind you.
Well, yeah. You know, I can't.
I mean, didn't you almost fight a major?
I wanted to beat his ass. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to get in any stories or anything specifically, but I'm just saying, you know, like that is the reputation you have.
Well, let me just give a brief explanation to whoever's going to listen to this. I was so disrespectful and pissed off to my supervisor that I wrote myself up.
Before you were disrespectful, that would have been even better.
After
that would have been epic. Hey,
well, because I didn't know he was going to come do this to me.
Yeah,
and he started talking shit and telling me how he was disappointed in my leadership ability, and I fucking started laughing, and then went off on him with a bunch of F-bombs and who the fuck are you, blah blah blah.
I will say, when we're talking about flaws, your flaw when you get pissed off is you overtly swear, like more than necessary. Like
that's an opinion.
That's true. You'll go from like what the fuck to this fucking fuck. Like, yeah. I'm
no,
like,
well,
dude, that doesn't make sense
when I cuss.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
So I wrote myself up.
Okay.
Gave it to my supervisor and told him this is what happened, and he didn't know what to do.
I wouldn't know what to do either. Who does that? That's an epic move.
And then the guy I went off on went to the chief to tell him we had a productive conversation.
Okay.
But he only did that to save his ass.
Yeah.
Because there was tension and word was getting out that he had to be moved or babysat or something because he was causing tension. And if that would have got out that me and him had that clash, then it probably would have been the final straw. So he told the chief that we had a final, we had a good conversation, productive conversation. And the chief sent me a personal email, said, "Hey, I heard y'all had a good conversation. Things are looking up. Keep up the good work." So it was a rah-rah for the chief. He like one less headache. And then I had to tell the chief, well, it wasn't really productive. But I didn't want to bust the chief's bubble too much. So I just kind of laughed it off. And
okay. I know you're running this, but there's one other thing that I want to bring up.
Okay.
You were in a executive staff meeting that talked about leadership and had a PowerPoint presentation that talked about, you know, making sure that if you're going to chastise your troops, you do that in private. You praise them, you do that in public and all that.
Okay.
And then they proceeded, you had the leader that gave that same exact speech.
Yes.
Chastise you in front of all your peers. So without putting any names out there, anything like that, can you explain that situation and how you handled it?
Yes. So we're talking, I was lieutenant, then there's a captain over me, and then there's a deputy chief. So the assistant chief gave a motivational type speech about treat your troops right, you know, like he just said.
Yeah.
You know, praise in public, discipline in private. That was part of the training.
Okay, and that was like how long? 10 minutes, 45 minutes?
Well, it was, 45 minutes, maybe an hour.
Okay. So
but then it came time for questions and answers. Q&A. And you know me, I'm a fixer. And when I see something that doesn't make sense, I'm going to ask.
Yeah.
And me and this chief had a good rapport, so I wasn't afraid to bring anything up. So I said, Chief, we got this new training for, reviews for accidents or use of force, and they call it Blue Team. And we fill it out and send it up, and we're done. But there was the way we used to do it format for everything like that. For example, like back in the day, it was use of force or an accident or something. We had to review it and then put it in a format, and I forget what it was called. And then, pretty much have all the basic information and a recommendation, and then signature block and send it up. Well, the new Blue Team was kind of limited. It didn't have all the questions and things that you had in the old one.
Yeah.
So you would fill out the Blue Team. You know how officers are. We want to do the least amount as possible and get it sent up the chain. Well, this deputy chief wanted us to do the new Blue Team and attach the old one. So it's kind of redundant, but not totally redundant because he wanted more information on it. Mm-hmm. So that edict had just come down from the chain. Make sure you attach it. And I didn't, because I didn't think it was necessary. And we didn't have to until he sent that edict down. So I brought it up to the chief. Hey, we just got, an edict about attach the old format with the new format. And I said, can't you fix the new Blue Team format so we don't have to be redundant? And the deputy chief
whose idea that was
was there.
You fucking called him out.
And he goes, let me answer that question. Well, then he went on to say the reason he did it because I did a piss poor Blue Team report and there wasn't enough information on it. And I go,
he's saying you specifically.
Yeah. And I go, wait a minute. What are you talking about? I never got anything back that needed fixing.
Right. How do I know I did a piss poor if you didn't tell me I did a piss poor? Yeah.
And so while I'm getting chewed out in front of everybody, I get this text message from my captain who's sitting behind me who goes, that's my bad. It came back and I added the information that was missing and just sent it up, which I respect because it's like, I'm not going to bother this lieutenant. Let me just add what he needs and get it going.
Yeah.
I'd do the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, I took the ass chewing
in front of everybody.
And then I go, look, if I fucked up, I would fix it. There's no big deal. I'm mad. I could take that. And then, he chat. I was pissed.
I know you were.
And
I heard.
So everybody's like doing that look. And like, oh,
Freddie's fucking mad.
So, and they were all on my side.
Mm-hmm.
So then I went down there and I said, Chief, that's fucking bullshit. And he tried to squash it, but I said, no, we're going to talk right now. We can talk in our office. No, we're talking right fucking now.
In front of that guy that...
Yeah.
So this is...
So I go up to the guy who's bitching. I said, look, we just... And he's bitching. I said, we just went through all this bullshit about how you're supposed to be a good leader and not discipline anybody in public. You just fucking did it. Oh, and he had to go, are you calling this bullshit?
Yes.
I'm not calling the program PowerPoint bullshit. I'm calling what you did bullshit.
Yeah.
And then so the chief knew he couldn't calm me down or the other. I thought the other guy was going to hit me, and I wish he would have.
Really?
Yeah. He was that that kind of guy.
What was he mad about?
That I fronted him out. And I really didn't even front him out.
Yeah.
Because I didn't mention anybody's name.
But he started it.
Yeah.
It was a juvenile way to say it, but he started it.
And then he went on to tell me, and then when you were a sergeant in narcotics, you were a shitty sergeant in narcotics.
How is that relevant?
Yeah. And the reason I was a shitty sergeant in narcotics because I sided with the officers too much. One of those.
Yeah, one of those.
And then so, but this is the thing. I said my piece. He apologized and he shook my hand.
Okay.
No, and I said my piece. Said, look, I'm not here to embarrass you, but I'm not going to take this shit when I had no opportunity to even know what you're pissed about.
Yeah.
And so I said my piece and said, and I'm sorry if I went off, and I apologize for going off. He goes, do you mean that? I said, yeah. And so he stuck his hand out, he shook his hand. And then it was tension.
Okay.
But we ended up working together again.
Okay.
And I didn't want to, but Renee was over there, so I was working for her.
Mm-hmm.
So I did. And then Renee was going to the FBI Academy. So they needed an acting captain. I didn't want to do it. I said, just give it to another lieutenant because I didn't want any contact with that.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want the headache. And he said, no, I don't want anybody else. I said, I don't want it. Find somebody else. And so he called a meeting. So then at that meeting, he pretty much kissed my ass.
Oh, shit. I just pulled my headphones out. Nice.
So he wanted me to be his acting captain.
Yeah.
Because, different things. I stood up for myself. And then one of his pet peeves was he would keep sending shit back. And I got fed up. And I figured out his pattern of what he wanted. So on these blue teams that we had to do for whatever, use of force, accident, pursuit, whatever it was, I knew every question that he wanted.
Yeah.
So I created a checklist.
For yourself?
No, for my sergeants. I said, this checklist will be attached to the blue team.
But that's something he should have known for himself.
Well, I'm a genius, okay?
I'm saying, what's funny, I just got back to my prior position, right? Well, my memory is one of my biggest faults. And there is this whole process ever since COVID on how to do a warrant signage from a judge because you do it all over the computer now. You don't go there and talk to the judge personally anymore. So
it's through Zoom now,
it's through Zoom. Yeah. So I'm an idiot and I forget steps. So I literally hand wrote it with a, Sharpie and printed it and stuck it to my wall.
So go by.
Yeah. Steps 1 through 9. There's 9 steps. And I was like, it's exactly what I need to do because I'm dumb. I don't remember that shit. Yeah. And it doesn't matter how often I do it. I could do it 5 times a day. I won't remember. I'll be like, I'll forget something. I need the checklist. That's just how I am. And I know that about me. So I make that. Well, I leave, come back, and there's so many new detectives in the office anyway. And I'm going through and I'm like,
your checklist is on every cubicle?
Every cubicle. I'm like, that looks like my handwriting. I didn't say shit.
They copied it?
And I'm like, that looks like my handwriting. And I think I made a list. Like, that's how stupid I am. I'm like, I think I made a list. And then I didn't say anything at first, and then the next day I come back and then I go into a detective he was in our section. Then he left, but he came back and I come in and I look at it and I'm looking at his cubicle and I was like, where'd you get that checklist? And he's like, oh, this is what they give to the detectives here. And I'm like, that looks like my handwriting. He's like, well, I think Brock got it out of, one of the guys I work with. Basically, they copied my checklist. It's all handwritten. Nobody's taking the time to type it out. They just copied the handwritten piece of paper.
It's the easiest way.
It is, yeah.
Well, the reason I made that checklist and the reason I brought it up is because years later, when he wanted me to be that acting captain, he said, yeah, and I knew you were the person that came up with that checklist for that blue team report.
Okay.
And that was 3-4 years before that.
Yeah.
So, but he knew I did that. And then he started saying, and I didn't know you were a brand new sergeant in narcotics. And he was kissing my ass.
Huh.
To the point where I was kind of cautious.
Yeah.
But, we had tension.
Yeah. Okay. So you've come close to fighting people at work.
Oh yeah.
Fair?
More. Yeah.
Okay. So on a scale of 1 to 10, with that guy and the one previous that we were kind of talking about,
ooh,
how close were you to fighting them physically?
Well, that guy in the meeting, that was real close because of his personality and my personality. Mm-hmm. Probably would have fought a lot quicker than...
My dogs are fighting right now. I can hear them.
A lot quicker than the other one because the other one didn't like confrontation. I mean, I would not have taken a tongue lashing from me or from my subordinate with that one we were talking about where mm-hmm. he challenged my leadership ability. I mean, I went off on him. Mm-hmm. But it was more one-sided. We're like, I was the one pitching, and he was just kind of soaking it up and just listening.
Gotcha.
Where the other guy was, he was trying to make his point, and I was trying to make my point, and there was more heat there.
Okay.
So that one would have been blows quicker than the other one.
Okay. But how close do you think you were? Because I've heard, and this isn't from you, this is from other people that have told me about the situations that said, in both of them, like, if a hair dropped, it would have went off.
It was that close.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was waiting for a blow to come.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he thought that, but I was waiting for it to come.
Yeah. See, that's where you and I, like, as similar as you and I are. For two people that really didn't come up together. You know what I mean?
Right.
Our biggest difference is it must be my patience or my ability to step back.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess I'm a hothead when, I don't say it ever has to be, but I guess I like Popeye.
Without the forearms.
It's all I can stand, and I can't stand no more. Right?
That's beautiful. Yeah.
So, yeah. And people are really surprised when I go nuclear.
Yeah, because I've been there only maybe twice. Never has anything to do with me. That's one of the things, like, you know, you look up to your dad. Like, mm-hmm. One of the things I look up to my dad about is, like, I've never seen you worked up. Like, you don't get worked up. But when you do, that's where you and I differ. When you hit a point, it's gone. You fucking fell over the edge.
Yeah.
I don't have that cliff.
I dive in.
Yeah, I don't have that cliff. Not yet. That I've noticed about myself. If anything, I have a failure to jump over. Like, maybe I sit back a little too long. It makes people uncomfortable how far back I do sit. I don't know.
Like that one conversation I had with Bush. Back in the day, I had some officers that were forced to take a person from the jail and mental lap them. And they had no personal knowledge of what this person done. Mm-hmm. And then they wanted them to write the affidavit. They put them in the mental ward. And they're saying, we can't do that.
Yeah.
We do it all the time. He was trying to be accommodating for, I think, Tarrant County.
Okay.
Yeah. The county officers.
Yeah.
And city officers, like, that's your job. We can't attest to what you saw.
Yeah.
Well, just take notes from passing it. They were shucking duties.
Yeah.
So I called up there and go, hey, why did y'all deny this? Or just question it. And then it came to, well, basically, we're just going to kiss their ass and do it anyways, because I can say that. That's just what the sergeant was saying. And I go, oh, so you're not going to stick up for our officers. You're just going to Well, it's not that. I said, no, we got it. This is good. If that's the way you want to run your ship, fine. Okay.
You say that, and he's one of my favorite guys.
Yeah.
I like him.
So, so he's going, well, yeah, no. Fuck it. I'm done. I'm hanging up. Don't you hang up on me.
Oh, okay. I know what story you're talking about now. Yeah.
I said, well, what do you mean don't hang up on you? I'm done talking to you.
He didn't know you were a sergeant.
No. He was a sergeant.
Yeah. He was a sergeant. You were a sergeant too, right?
No, I was lieutenant.
Oh, you were lieutenant. Okay, so you outranked him too.
So
that's the best.
I'm like, look, dude, I am done talking to your fucking ass now. I'm done.
Yeah.
Right? And I had it on speaker. And so all my troops heard what he's saying. Listen, you're going to sit there and you're going to listen to me. I'm going to explain. I said, no, you don't need to explain anything. I'm done. You're not going to help us. This is what you want to do. It's your shop. Fine. Noted.
Yeah.
Okay. And he goes, you better not hang up on me. What are you going to do? I'll write you up. For what? Insubordination. Well, do it.
Oh, Jesus.
So he is so fucking pissed.
Yeah.
That he calls his captain. Kraus.
Oh, it was Robin.
Robin.
Okay.
And he goes, tells him the story. He goes, hold your horses there. I think you're talking about Freddie Gilbert. He goes, whatever his name is.
He's a lieutenant.
He goes, that's the lieutenant over there. And he was calling his captain as he's en route from 50 miles away, off duty, to come bitch me out.
Oh, no.
And he walks in, and then it's one of those guys, you know.
Yeah.
You don't recognize the name or the face or the voice, but when you see him, oh, that fucker.
Yeah.
And so here he comes in. I go, dude, you need a life.
Jesus.
I said, you got so pissed off that you got in your truck
on your off time
to bitch me out.
Yeah.
And I said, and you're fucking wrong. So
I will say he's lightened up.
Yeah. He's a good guy.
Yeah. He's a good dude.
He's a good guy.
Yeah. We've all been there. I've gotten wrapped up. I went at a sergeant and I was fucking wrong. Dead wrong. I thought I was right. Uh-oh. That's the worst. That's the fucking worst when you think you're right and then they're like da 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 and you're like fuck. I didn't know that.
Or you're right, but they have enough discretion to do it with the way they want to do it.
Yeah. And
then you go, that's bullshit. You go over the head and they go, I don't care.
Yeah. 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 I've had to eat some humble pie a couple times where I'm just like, no, this is it. This, and even to this day, like if I had the same facts, I'd be like, no, this is right. This is it. And they're like, well, this, that, and the other. And you're like, oh, fuck, I didn't think of that. I didn't know that. And you're like, that's why I'm a sergeant and you're the fucking officer. And you're like, God damn it.
So
you just got to eat it.
I have this personal trainer I work out with.
What's his name?
Ben.
Yeah. Ben cute.
He knows BJJ. He's pretty good at it, too.
I bet he knows BJ.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it came up about...
Is that why you've lost so much fucking weight?
Well, I had to lose weight.
No, you didn't.
Yeah. I could get my ass beat at 195.
Oh. What are you at right now?
I'm about 175.
As I say, you're like half the dad I used to remember.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Like you look like you're cancerous now.
Kathy says I'm too skinny.
You are too skinny.
No, I'm not. I'm shredded.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
No, I didn't feel good at that weight. And I didn't think it mattered that much in competition.
Yeah. Oh, it makes a big difference, bro.
Dude, I was getting...
You'll get tossed.
I was getting... Well, I think I had 3 fights at that weight. I only won 1.
Yeah.
What's ironic was I won it against a guy who weighed 350.
I see. It doesn't matter.
But the normal guys...
Yeah.
It was just so hard to do anything.
Yeah.
Because they're just bigger, stronger.
Yeah. So you're 175?
Yeah.
Damn.
Give or take.
But you're 5'8"?
7.
5'7"? Yeah. So I'm 5'11", 6 foot. I'm right there. And I sit right about 188. That's usually, I float between 188 and 191.
Well, I'm trying to gain the muscle, but you got to eat so fucking much to gain the muscle.
Yeah.
Because I got a nutritionist too.
Yeah.
And it's, if you don't eat enough, you start losing the muscle. And you lose fat too, but you lose muscle too. Yeah. So you're kind of defeating the purpose. And it's a science.
It is. Yeah. I'm right now, I kind of quit weightlifting because I can't find the time between the podcast and everything else going on. I can't find the time. So I run, I do squats, air squats, push-ups, and sit-ups. And that is it. That's all I've been doing. And I've been able to maintain my weight, my size. I'm not where I want to be by any means.
Well, I don't think you can be if you're not doing any kind of weight resistance.
Right. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm not upset with where I'm at.
Yeah.
So
the same here. I would like to be a little fuller in the upper body because I have perfect legs. But that's the way I've always been.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, I have stocky legs.
Yeah. Freak strength.
Yeah.
In the thighs.
Old man strength.
Yeah.
And so.
That ain't old man strength. That's different. So this dude, he was terrible at jiu-jitsu. Terrible. He had just started at jiu-jitsu, but if he got your leg wrapped up in his fucking legs, you weren't progressing at all.
I have monkey feet too.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what's frustrating. I was like, all right, what you got to do something because you're just holding me. I can't. Yes,
but I'm surviving.
Yeah, well, you're not getting tapped out, but I can't move. And I would sit there and I'm like, I'm not gonna waste my energy. He's gonna finally fade. His legs will finally fade, and they don't.
My legs don't fade. The upper body will fade, but
yeah, your legs never like me. If I were to clinch and hold, a half guard or whatever it is, like. If you're constantly trying to pressure me and move past that, my legs will eventually fade, but yours don't.
I can lock you down for a long time.
A long time. But not just like lock you down, like demoralize.
Yeah.
It's demoralizing. Yeah.
I've had people tap because they just hurt.
Yeah.
From a lockdown.
Yeah. 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 Lockdown's a bitch. Yeah. I've had people do that.
But what I was getting with Ben.
Sorry. Yeah.
He,
Ben,
the trainer.
Oh yeah.
I had to tell. We were talking about the differences of policing today, and I told him some.
Oh really?
Some. What do you call that? Cultural differences in policing back in the day, and the one that stood out in the 60s and 70s and 80s and part of the 90s. If you run from the police, you're going to the hospital first.
Yeah. There's an ass whipping attached to it. I remember that old sentiment. Yeah.
Right. And the suspect, criminal, the element, knew that was the game.
Yeah.
So they knew if they ran that they better get away.
Yeah.
Because you're pissing. And then we started talking about how you de-escalate and how back in the day there wasn't much de-escalation at all. You kicked someone's ass.
I don't believe that though. I don't believe that y'all didn't try to talk your way. It wasn't called de-escalation. You're not trying to fight.
Well, okay, let me tell you. This is what I was trying to get to him. I said, it's not easy when you're shot at or you're getting your ass beat and you're hyped up.
Yeah.
And I gave him the example. Hey, someone just shoots at you and they're running and they just stop, drop the gun, and go like this. And you're supposed to go, okay, come here, and put cuffs on you. You're
emotionally invested. Yeah, you just tried to kill me.
Yeah. And I'll make it like, oh, no big deal.
Yeah.
And that's what society wants you to do today.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to expect that from a human being.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you walk in and you see, and this really pissed him off, you see someone raping a little baby. And they go, I give. Right? Do you just
It changes their perspective.
Do you just quietly and softly handcuff them because they're being compliant?
Yeah.
I mean, you're supposed to.
Or do you slam them on the ground?
Yeah. That's why you see on TV, and this is my opinion, and I know I'm right, but you see someone being cuffed, and they always get slammed on the hood and get cuffed. Well, I think mostly that slamming was from what people saw, and that's just part of, you know, the escalation, de-escalation process where you're in a fight.
Doesn't matter. White,
survival type,
brown, black,
right.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah. And we just talked about back in the day, it was just part of it. And was it right? No. But that's what it was.
Yeah.
And like back in the slave era, they treated them like shit. But it wasn't, people thought it was wrong here and there, but it was just ignored because that was the
cultural norm.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But
now policing, everybody's got a camera.
Yeah.
So now seeing what police work is like, and that people that didn't, they're like, okay, we're okay with all that until they see it. Now they're like, oh, well, okay, maybe this isn't exactly what we wanted. And I'm not saying police are against that necessarily. It's just you have to put us within the parameters that we can actually function.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I told Ben this. I said, it's really hard to prepare or train someone for a life-threatening situation.
Yeah.
How do you train being shot at?
Yeah. Without actually being shot at.
Yeah.
Everything's in a safe environment.
Right. You know you're going home during training. So
you and I have taken a couple calls together.
Right.
And we'll wrap up on this, but we've taken some calls together. Out of what we've done together, do you remember any of the calls that we took together? Anything stand out to you?
The favorite one is the one at the mall.
Yeah. Yeah. And your son had to pull you back?
I wouldn't say that. You didn't physically pull me back.
No.
You were more like verbally de-escalated for me.
Yes. I was like, hey, we got him. Because.
Well, here's what I saw. Okay. We're in the mall. Suspicious vehicle was out there, right? Near closing time.
Yep.
We spotted them. They tried to get away, creep away. It wasn't like they fleeing. We got them stopped. Then they tried to come out of the car and just kind of walk away. You know, they'll walk away.
Yeah, they tried to all scatter.
Who, me?
Yeah.
My training is, there's a phrase for it. So I just went full-fledged, aggressive.
Yeah, you did.
Voco, with the best words chosen to get on the ground.
It was awesome.
To where there's no doubt who I'm talking to.
Yeah.
And there's no doubt that I will fuck you up if you run.
Yeah.
Because, who wants to chase anybody at my age? So, we helped them down.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Everything was good.
And then one kind of moved his hands towards his pocket.
Yeah, he started making furtive movements.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's not allowed.
Yeah, no, it's not allowed, is it?
No. So I guess I went into that cussing
you did
mode that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I made sure he didn't go in his pockets anymore.
Yes, you did. I was like, we got him. We're good. That was great. Yeah,
I think I kicked the shit out of him.
No, you didn't.
Did I kick his hand or something?
No, I don't think you got physical at all. I think it was just you yelling at him, and I think actually you kicked his leg out.
Oh, yeah, to spread him out.
Yeah, to spread him out. That's what you did.
A little.
Yeah, because he went down and I don't know if he's trying to put his phone away. He was trying to do something stupid.
Right.
At the time that we're telling him, put your hands out. Like, yeah. So, yeah, okay, I remember that. Yeah, That was a good one. I remember us sitting side by side, talking afterwards and stuff. I was like, you got to get used to body cameras being out there. You got to get, I'm trying to school you.
Speaking of body cams, I saw one of my old troops, and I'm coming from the courthouse, and he's near the jail. This is like 6 months ago, maybe less. And, hey, what's up? And I'm just like, oh, I'm just visiting a shitbag over here. And he goes, real quiet, pointing towards his camera. He couldn't respond.
Yeah,
like he wanted.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay. Hey, have a good day.
Right. And if people out there where there's no sincerity behind what people are saying when they say shitbag or whatever it is, it's just an old school way of how police talk. You know, I'm dealing with shit brick. I'm dealing with asshole over here. I'm dealing with whoever.
Yeah.
It's no different than
one of our troops that you played baseball with posted on Facebook, hey, we're all the same. We're not better than anybody else. I go, bullshit. I'm better than that baby murderer over there.
Yeah.
And I always will be.
Fair enough.
What can you say?
Fair enough. But yeah. Well, I will say we're almost at the 3-hour mark, but you know, I've gotten a lot of support in this podcast and the way it's been going. You've been one of the major ones that have helped support, whether it's through equipment, through buying stuff or whatever. But it's getting to a point now where this is a permanent thing. This is pretty big.
Yeah.
It's getting bigger. My guests in itself are getting bigger. My sponsorships are actually starting to be somewhat promising. Nothing big has come through yet, but stuff's on the horizon. And when we get off air, I'll tell you more about what's coming down. But I like that you constantly are a part of it because I get a lot of good feedback from you. So get the old school mix in there. I still want to do my fireside things. When, like I said, if the sponsorships start to get bigger, like I'm hoping they do, there's some promise on the horizon. I'm going to get those mics and then I'll do my retirement. So people listening, if you're wondering like, why do you need these certain mics? Why do you need this? Listen, policing had a culture back in the day and it was accepted back then that it's not accepted back now. And the way that I equate that to is like, think of the movie Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
It was hilarious for its time. But with our cancel culture in a place that people can get sued, arrested, offended, whatever it is. When I do this segment that I want to do, I want retired officers and for the culture that they were a police officer in to be able to say how things were without fear of reprisal or anything, because back then, if that was what was accepted and that's all you knew, that's okay. Like, that's not your fault today.
It's kind of like back in the day in the 70s, Sanford and Son, Archie Bunker.
Yeah.
All those, what kind of word am I looking for? They were risque. They were, today they would be called offensive.
Yeah.
That was comedy back then.
Yeah. Who was James Bond? The original James Bond. It was the Scottish dude.
Oh,
the good James Bond.
Well, there's multiple.
I know there's multiple, but the original good James Bond.
Yeah.
But there's a thing of him saying sometimes a girl needs a good smack, some shit like that. Like, that was the thing back then. Today, obviously, we know, like, no, dude, you can't do that. That's not good. Right. So that is going to be the premise of the retirees fireside talk. There's not going to be video. It's just going to be all audio. Nobody's going to be using their names. They're going to match your voice up. So good luck. But we're going to talk about how policing was in the 80s and the 90s for them and the good stories and the stuff like that. So that will be fun. And it will be a way to show, like, look, this is where we've come from policing. This is how policing used to be. This is how successful it was. And look, we're able to do policing in a different way today, and we're still just as successful.
You've met J.C. Williams, haven't you?
Which one?
His dad.
There's 3 of them.
Well, the one that used to run TCU.
No,
second.
I don't think I met him.
Okay, so he was lieutenant sergeant when I came on, and he was one of the first ones to lead the weed and seed program on the East Side.
Oh, okay.
Which is a whole another story, and he's a good communicator, and he would be a good guest.
Yeah.
Plus, he's TCU.
Yeah.
You got that connection.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, he would be really another one from the old school version.
Yeah.
And I really think that, I'm not saying old school was the right way, but I think it's like
for the time,
a teeter-totter thing where, look, we're going to have to find a balance here. Can't be too woke and too soft. Like look at New York. They have a new, well, it's not new. It's their arrest policy, or I forget what they call it, but certain crimes, there's no bail. You just process and let go.
Yep.
And now every day you hear something about somebody was, murdered, beat up, assaulted, stabbed, shot, whatever. And it's from a repeat offender that kept getting out.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I hear you. We got anything for closing, sir?
No, I just wanted to, you do the interviews and you talk to people and you get to hear their story.
Yeah.
And we get bits and pieces of you, and it's mostly, career, work related, and your experience. I just kind of wanted to get the other side of you, and so people can maybe get more of an understanding of your personality, and kind of like, okay, now I see why he thinks this way and that way.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Hopefully they got that. But all right, I appreciate you coming out.
It's fun.
I like
it. Fucking 3 hours go quick.
Love it.